What's up, everybody? How are you doing? Welcome to Difficult Research, where we have crazy hair and we don't care, right? Anyways, good to see you guys. Hey, Sonia. Hey, Miss Dora. I hope you're doing well too. Thank you. I start work in an hour or so. Pop in if I can. I'll be on Replay Crew. We love Replay Crew, right? Hey, everybody has their own thing in this. So I appreciate you being here. All right. Well, I go blank whenever I go live. So that's why I hit y'all at the very end and I'm like, oh, because it all just starts coming back to me. Hey, Nina. Hey, Divergent. How are you? Hey, Donna. Back there. Um, glad y'all are here. How's everybody's Sunday? I'm trying to think of what happened. You know? I go blank. Plus, I've been, going through all my stuff. Again, periodically I go through it. I thin out my notebooks, tear out things that I don't need, and I'm like, oh yeah. um, oh yeah, I made this too. Too much stuff, right? Too many people, first off. Okay, can we just say that? Too many dang people. Sending love to Colby, that was horrible the other day. I felt so bad for him. I really did. I just knocked some papers off. Hey. Hey, Angela. How's it going? Hey, MB. Angela. How's it going? Dreamweaver. Warwickery. Becky. How's it going? Hey, Donna Reed. Donna Reed? The Donna Reed? Redhead Donna Reed? Hey, Joe Schmo. I have a list for you from the other day. I just found it. But it'll help everybody else. So the other day when I think it was your Melanie Gibb, one of your Melanie Gibb videos, and I was like, go read the infamous Reddit email or the zombie email. Depends on who you ask. You will learn that Nate Eaton's entire interview follows the same flow of the infamous Reddit email, aka zombie email that was, we believe, we don't know, like it's not been confirmed, but we have it pretty much narrowed down to Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, her husband of convenience. And so it's interesting that this infamous Reddit email is very accurate to everything. It's just written in that kind of language, very evasive. You'd have to be LDS to really understand the rhetoric. But you can see through it because I am not LDS and I saw through it. But so Nate Eden had sent my mom an email because Melanie Gibb was the first type, like mainstream, I guess you could say, or really at that time, it was pretty much she was the first, but it wasn't because she was a Christian. Okay, no Christian, in my opinion. She did it because she was getting busted and getting caught up in something that I believe she took part in. But hey, that's me. I'm entitled. She's entitled to claim her innocence. I'm entitled to believe otherwise. So, yeah, but Nate Eaton had sent my mom an email and he was just kind of giving her a heads up about what was going to be going on, in the interview. That because I mean, in this kind of stuff, when all just in this trial or this case period, it's crazy. Okay, it's absolutely crazy, and I'm speaking for myself, every turn was blow, a blow, a blow, a blow. You could never catch your breath. And then you were just getting hit with another wave of, oh my God. And so this was around April, May of 2020. And, you know, 5 months after it went public, the case, the kids being missing and everything, so very interesting. But so the zombie or Reddit email went the way that Nate asked his questions in the Dateline. They'll have Dateline tagged to it because they partnered with them or whatever, um, in that interview, and it's like they just go he follows the same pattern. Like, either he saw the Reddit email or, mm, you can speculate as to I this is my honest opinion, I feel like Melanie Gibb had called Sherry Dowdle, who didn't even know her, but Sherry Dowdle, like, followed her through her books and everything. She believed her about having a mighty change of heart and having, feeling the fire and, going through these real, experiences of ups and downs and whatever. And so Melanie Gibb, contacted her via Facebook Messenger or something, and Sherry Dowdle, she recorded the conversation, and we love her for that. We love her for that. I do. And it is the most revealing Melanie Gibb interview, and it's not an interview, so let me take that back. It is the most revealing, uh, audio we have of Melanie Gibb. It's not, well, I don't remember now because I know because we were nervous about whether it was leaked from the Arizona police or what, so I have to refresh myself on that. Um, um, I don't know, but anyway, so I remember having it ready to go, and then I was just like, "Mm-mm, I'm not pushing publish until That is one thing, if you don't know anything about me, I don't wanna hear information the wrong way, if that You know, like, I don't wanna hear it from hearsay, I don't wanna hear it from something I don't wanna hear, like, something that would put me complicit in miscarrying justice, like, no, no, thank you. Like, I want it the right way or yeah, miss me with that real quick, miss me. So, it was just interesting. The phone call was so telling because Melanie Gibb was so very, um God, I don't have the words. The word, uh, not oh my gosh, insincere. Okay. Disingenuous. Hey, Kim, what's up? I know, girl, we're getting old. Oh my God, I'm getting fat and old. What's up? I hope you're doing good. You and your little ones that probably aren't little anymore either. Well, I'm glad you're here. Girl, we still trying to get this hooker to trial. Another one. Another one. Another damn trial. Third one, third trial in a year. And third trial in 3 years. Yeah. Uncle Charles would have said home run, you know? Um, anyways, let me go through my list so I don't veer off too damn bad. Um, so uh they did treat converts differently, Joe. Um, as far as like in the church, in this group for sure. I can talk about this group. Um, it seemed to me because like Uncle Charles was a convert, because Joe Ryan was a convert, um, and because they weren't, I say thoroughbreds, but you know what I'm saying. They weren't pioneer stock. And yes, there is a difference that I can see. That's my opinion. And that Chad does have more I was trying to figure that out too, if Chad had, like, priesthood. I didn't know if Uncle Charles went to the temple, but then I found, the records where he paid, $12,000 in 6 months for to the to the church. Um, and when they were in Hawaii, and then there's that text we went over last week or earlier this week, of him saying, "I have the priesthood." And then mom said one time that, she saw him in his she saw him in his garments, and so, yeah, it's just kinda, he didn't flaunt it like all these other a-holes, so there's that, um, I don't know. But it seemed like it didn't matter. And there's also that hearsay. I don't know, can't corroborate this. I've told y'all that quite a lot recently that Barry, it was rumored that Janice, Summer, Melanie Boudreaux, Pulowski, went to that October 26, 2018 Preparing a People conference where James and Elena, well, yeah, they met, and Lori and Chad met, and holy crap. Thank you. I don't know how to say it. ComRVNA. Comverna. I can't do all that, but thank you. Thank you. I'll learn to say your name. Appreciate you. He had to have the priesthood and gotten his endowments to be able to wear garments. Right. What about paying tithing and stuff? That's not for every member of the church, right? Is it? Or is it just temple goers, temple recommend holders? Interesting. Thank you again. Appreciate you. Okay, and then Charles found email months later of Lori posing as Charles to get Daybell to write a book, or Charles to write a book, to give Chad an alibi in order to leave his wife and go hump around with the hooker. Sorry. And Chad, whoa. And then Charles said Chad did not stay at their house. He did not stay at our house. He was like, "I will find out." And I said, "But never did because he was unalived." Gibb testified in both trials and Chad's preliminary hearing. So on record, she has testified in Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing, August of 2020. She also testified in Lori's trial. She went in there with a freaking disguise on. I'm not shitting you. I shit you not. With a damn disguise on, like she is something special. That's the Lord's favorite, don't you know? Melanie Gibb is the Lord's favorite, right next to Julie Rowe, and then right under Lori Vallow Daybell. And then we need to have just a whole section, a whole sideshow or something of the Lord's favorite. This group is competing hard. So, right? In my mind, those garments look like zombie bandages. Oh my God. Yes. That's a good one. Actually, TBH, to be honest, huh? Whoa. Mm. Yeah, that is true, Joe. Because once a child is baptized and they choose the right, they start saving okay. All right. Yeah, now I'll remember it. Thank you. 3 jobs. Wow. If you could have all that money back, then they would not be able to make it for the second coming. Just know that. Okay, and then, well, Chad did not stay at their house while he was there, at least. Charles went out of town to work. Lori knew that. And there was the conference coming up. So they met at October 26th, St. George, Utah. That's where they allegedly met. Then they planned on seeing each other November 16th or the 18th is when Mike Stroud went and spoke for the first time at the next Preparing a People event, which was in Mesa. Okay. Jason Mao was there. I have the talk or whatever from Preparing a People of Mike Stroud, and he addresses in the very beginning. He's like, "Oh wow, Uh, Mike's here, which is Mike James. Jason's here, which is Jason Mao. And then Chad and Thor. Thor Furuseth. Hmm. Anyways, white gloves everywhere for the Lord's favorite. Oof. Under those white gloves, you will see blood stains, okay? In my opinion. So, oh yeah, so Gibb testified in both trials, Lori's Chad's and his preliminary hearing. That's when she entered the Firm Foundation, the Firm Expo, and preparing a people into the record. And we were glad about that. We were hoping that Rob Wood was going to dismantle. These were my expectations. We were hoping that Rob Wood was going to dismantle this crew, or like I used to say, dismember it, pun intended. Because I don't know, in my mind, that's kind of what played out. That's what was going to happen, and I quickly learned that that is, in fact, not how it happens. That prosecution has one job, and it is to convict their guy. And they did, and that's it. And so now we're just floating around with 2 convicted nasty people, Chad and Lori, and the rest are out there amongst children and the vulnerable, writing books, making money and stuff. Probably speaking about how this affirms their testimony in their church. How this my family's a lesson to them, you know. My family was just a when they all, in my opinion, had hands on. They're culpable, in my opinion, all the way. It's an enterprise. Let's just say that. And we don't pick them up; we drop them off. All right, I'll try to stop. Probably not. Okay, so LDS. Oh, you had said something about the. You said the LDS Church taught that the Catholic Church is basic. I put words in your mouth, but the whore of Babylon. But I remember this is when I learned about how, there's the whole they go hang out. The leaders from the Mormon Church go hang out with the Pope. They're like, "Hey, what's up?" Psh. And then they're like, "Meh," and they're probably like, "Well, how many people did you fool this week?" Oh, and that's just me and my little imagination. It's so little. But yeah, so the joke's on us is basically what I'm saying. So they're all friends. They all hang out at the water cooler, talk about the weekend rituals, what they did. Anywho, okay. And I learned that initially from Lynn Packer, who was reporting on Operation Underground Railroad and all this fantabulous stuff. Um, and then second anointing was, I don't even know why I just wrote second anointing, so whatever. It gives women, okay, so and I've read the accounts all the way back to Joseph Smith's time. So women are given the priesthood power, and they do the washing and anointings. They actually bless their husband's head, their husband. And so, this kind of, yeah. So in the James and Elena story, we hear about how Chad and Lori go to the temple. Okay. And if you compare their account of the James and Elena story, but it's really Chad and Lori, and you compare that with Tom Harrison's, I'm not Tom Harrison, Tom, 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 Tom. Oh my gosh, Second Anointing Exposed, Tom Phillips. Tom Phillips on Mormon Stories podcast, which is where I learned through listening to these people's stories that this was exactly what was happening, for my aunt to be like, "Hey, I see Jesus. I'm the Lord's favorite, don't," so I do see Jesus. I'm a translated being. You're not. There are no kids allowed to translated beings are not allowed to have children. You can only go it's only Adam and Eve, okay? There is no, little ones. You don't get income tax returns or nothing like that. So it's a couples club only, members only. um, uh, based on your bloodline, lineage. Mhm. So that tracks with that. But if you take the 2 stories, James and Elena, well, in Tom Phillips' story of his second anointing in England, okay, this happened in England, and guess who was there? And Russell Ballard. Ooh, and he took one of the Huntsman jets, because they all friends. And, but if you take that and compare it to Tom Phillips, then instead, okay, so when Tom Phillips and his wife had received the second anointing, they went and stayed inside of the temple. They have rooms there. Did you know that? Right, me neither. I didn't know it was a hotel or a bed and breakfast or anything like that. And I don't think he didn't either. But Tom Phillips said that, he was waiting. He was like, "Oh my God," like he didn't feel like he was worthy to be exalted. Okay. And so when he was exalted, he was, because he had read about this, obviously, okay? Not many, your average member do not even know about the second anointing. This is super secret, super sacred. Everybody has, if you're on my side, you say super secret. On that side, you would say super sacred because it's their worship, So, but I mean, that all in of itself is really nasty to just be hiding super secret exaltation for those who are the do-gooders, according to the prophet of the Mormon church at the time. He has to like he would have had to have handpicked Lori and Chad, which I'm just like, ain't no way. Okay, they're doopity-doo and Dumb and Dumber, or pick your favorite and fill in the blank. And so they're not, according to the common, when somebody does find out about the second anointing, then they're usually have a criteria in their mind. Although I'm just thinking, well, I mean, do we even know? Because they just supposedly don't have them anymore. And I'm calling bullcrap. I'm calling bullshit because everything that is said inside of that temple ceiling, which is the second anointing, it's polygamy, friends. Okay. It's polygamy today. It's spiritual wifery. I don't know. Um, whatever. Uh, so whenever what was I about to say? And I just cut my own self off. um, yeah, but to you, whenever you are sealed in the temple, you have your second anointing. A woman becomes equal to her husband's priesthood. It's the holy order of the Melchizedek priesthood, and you have all the powers. Okay, she has the powers. He has the powers. She can bless. He can bless, which is interesting because Adam Cox says that Lori is saying this, but it's like way sooner. So I'm just like, well, I don't really know. I'm just trying to do the best I can with the limited information that I have, especially in that area, right? But anyways, but if you take the James and Lana story, again, I'm gonna try and bring this home, and you take Tom Phillips' story, then and whenever Tom Phillips and his wife went and stayed in the room and whatever, I don't want to know what happened. But I mean, really, they just it was a very like spiritual experience that he wasn't quite ready for. But then maybe they didn't have rooms over there at the Gilbert Temple, and so Chad and Lori stayed at a hotel room and finished their little anointing ceremony. You see what I'm saying? Because he blessed her head and she blessed whatever. And then they whatever on the couch and nasty. And then yeah. So I was just like, I wonder if it was like an after party. You know what I'm saying? What do you call it? Consummate, maybe. That's so and so, yeah, if this did happen, if the second anointing did happen, then the prophet of the Mormon church, in my opinion, would be liable, in my opinion. You don't just be uniting people and telling them they're ordained. If so, I'm just saying that's knowing damn good and well they got church records out the yang. They know that they're married to other people. They know that. But I mean, when you're practicing polygamy and polyandry and stuff, then do you really care? You know, when you're exalting people in this life, because it's not the next. I'm sorry. Lori probably still thinks she's going to the celestial kingdom, which is the Church of the Firstborn, guys. Church of the Firstborn is it's not a church. It's a hypothetical church. It's a title. It's a sash. It's a label. It's like, hey, we're in the in club. We get to make it to the new world order. we get to partake is more their language, They get to partake. So yeah, there's that. And then M. Russell Ballard invested. Oh yeah, M. Russell Ballard invested in what Scientologists use as their e-meter, the cans or whatever. If that's not interesting. And I mean, so energy healers, you could dub them as back in the day. They could judge whether somebody, just like muscle testing and stuff that's going on in these groups, like with Dr. Bradley Nelson, Tony Robbins, that's like with Chad, Tammy, even, where they're basing and judging a person's percentage of whatever they're measuring against this machine that M. Russell Ballard invested in, and it was called the e-meter. Interesting. Fun fact. The mirror thing, that blew my mind too, because I knew about the temple and having opposing mirrors, and it creates a portal. And I did that on accident one time at the very beginning of this. And I mean, I just didn't think about it. And then I was like, when I found out, I was like, oh my God, no, that's freaky. So then it made me think about mirrors in her dance rooms. She had mirrors everywhere. Was she creating just a big ass portal or what? She is a portal. She is a big ass portal. Excuse my French. Welcome to the show. So yeah. God dang, I have a lot of notes for you, dude. Okay, so that's that page. Eden. Oh yeah. Gibb lied about not having an attorney in her when she did her interviews. Why the need for the attorney when you're telling the truth? She had an attorney. Bum bum bum. Yeah, Nate Eden is a devout Mormon. Because of this, in my opinion, he distances the church from Chad and Lori's beliefs because those are his beliefs. It's a whitewash version, in my opinion. Whenever you catch those specials and stuff, you'll notice that this is whenever the Bible becomes a scapegoat for the Book of Mormon or for the Mormons, in my opinion, because you never hear if he comes at you once, if he comes at you twice, if he comes at you 3 times, it says it right here. When Nephi tried to kill tried to kill Laban, or could kill Laban, or whatever the hell, she justified to get her temple recommend. Give me my temple recommend or else I'm gonna kill my ex-husband, Joe Ryan. So I mean, they never bring those things up. In fact, Netflix, whenever they did Sins of Our Mother, they did all the parts except for that one. They took that one part out. I was like, nice pat on the back for the Mormons. And in my opinion, it evades it. It doesn't tell the whole story about it. Didn't come from the Bible. Not all of it, I mean, all of it came from the Bible if you think about it, because it was taken from the Bible somewhat and then twisted because Joseph Smith said that he needed to correct the Bible because it wasn't correct. How's that for a narcissist? Okay. It's not correct. Let me put my man hands on it and let me make it correct. When we all know the origins about the Book of Mormon and all that stuff on September 22nd, which is when JJ was murdered. And so these are just me ranting now. Probably Nate Eaton's boss is Frank Vandersloot. the wealthiest Mormon billionaire in Idaho, more specifically Southeast Idaho, Idaho Falls to be exact. He bought a couple of about 5 radio stations and TV stations from his church, Bonneville Communications. When he bought these TV and radio stations at the same time that whistleblower Adam Steed was blowing his whistle about the Boy Scouts of America. There are Netflix series about, or, shows about him, his whistleblowing. Hey, Cheryl and Amanda. And I mean, I even caught the story, okay, when Adam Steed was telling his story on Mormon Stories podcast, when Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke hit the fan. And I mean, Adam Steed came out of nowhere and we're like, who is this guy? Like I'm getting chills just thinking about and talking about it. He just came out of nowhere. And I mean, you could tell this guy has been silenced for years, and they're still trying to do that because they made Mormon Stories podcast, not take it down, but it's not public anymore, I don't think. But I grabbed clips while I could because I know how these dirty people be playing. Okay. That is my problem now. That's why I have 15 storages full of crap because they gaslight and they like to remove things that they said. And that's called dirty deleting, in my opinion. And I don't think that's fair, but they don't play fair. And so there's that. So you just have to beat them their own game, and just try to catch them while you can at the time that you can, because they are slippery. So whenever Adam Steed came out back in the, back then, and so there's a news story of Nate Eaton. When Nate Eaton was younger, he was on KITI or KV, I don't know, KTVI in Idaho. And so a different, East Idaho News. Hold on. And so at KTVI, he interviews Frank Vandersloot and he's catches him, in like 3 different parts. Okay. And it's pretty about 6 minutes each. And so we learned more about Frank Vandersloot, and I mean, this guy was just never even on I mean, I heard about him and I was like, yeah, I'll get around to it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Adam Steed happened and I was like, holy shoot, holy cow, like Melanie Gibbs says. And I was just like, oh my God. So if you control the media, this is not my quote. I'm not directly quoting, but it comes from somebody way long time ago. When you control the media, you control the narrative, you control the story, you control everybody's emotions, you control everything. So whenever you have Melanie Gibb, who is your first interview, in my opinion, Nate Eaton and his crew and whatever, maybe this is how these things work. And maybe, I'm not a journalist, so I'm not here. I don't know. It's just from where I sit, it looks like they're given the leads. They're given, somebody from law enforcement told them to be in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just pretty nasty, in my opinion. That's just me, though. It's my family. It's personal. It's very personal. But, and then there's just all the things just kept piling up and piling up and piling up. And then the whole thing with Keith Morrison and Dateline, and then Melanie Gibb and Rob Wood, and Nate Eaton. So, too many questions. Too many questions and not appropriate behavior when there are my dead family members and Tammy and Joe. Nope. And I mean, I still wonder what happened to that first Dateline show. They even wiped it, It's Where Are the Kids or something? Where Are the Children? Do y'all remember that? Yeah. So Frank Vandersloot, whenever Adam Steed is, whistleblowing and everything, and they're him and his parents and his brother, they were invited to I forget what it's called, a ceremony or an award thing where, because his dad and his mom were getting legislation changed in Idaho for the rights of victims of sexual abuse. And then we know how Boy Scouts of America, holy crap, right? And I mean, all the churches, the main culprits, in my opinion, look like Mormon Church and the Catholic Church. Like I said, mm. So, well, in the interview, Frank Vandersloot tells Nadine a long time ago that he didn't like the way that the accusers were accusing people in his church, people in the Boy Scouts, people um, in the community. And so he bought radio stations and TV stations. Why? He was already posting, Frank Vandersloot was already posting, allegedly, rich people like to sue, in the, anyways, some kind of newspaper or something. I don't remember the names of it, but Um, so what he did, in my opinion, what it looks like is a habit, or it's becoming one, is like, oh, I don't like the story. So, hey, I'm just going to buy, radio stations and TV stations, and I'm going to spin it how I want to spin it because I'm rich and I can do that shit. I'm friends with George Bush. I'm friends with, who else? Oh, Bill Clinton. No, 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 no. Sorry. Mitt Romney, Trump Jr., a senator from here, Louisiana, Mike Johnson, I do believe. Yeah. Oh, dirty birds. Anyways, I know I'm forgetting people, important people. I mean, this is where it's like, okay, Carlos Slim ain't such a far stretch right now, when you're rolling with the big dogs. They have nothing better to do, in my opinion. Frank Vandersloot also owns Melaleuca plant, which is where Ian Pawlowski works. I don't know, which is interesting. And it's right there in Southeast Idaho. And I mean, also to know that Frank Vandersloot owns East Idaho News, but so does Nate Eaton now. They all own a stake in it. Stake. And so when we had the kids' memorials last year, I mean, I was just like, "Mom, just no priesthood blessings. I don't want nobody says bless you whenever people sneeze, but they blessing everything and everybody, and that's not the right kind of blessings, in my opinion. That's kinda why we're here, is because of these blessings, and I mean, I understand there's the intent and not everybody means that, but please, can you understand? I'm just like, "No, thank you." So when we got there, I noticed that there's this thing about exploitation and how if the same team, can exploit the people, the victims, every step of the way, every step of the way. And so I look at it like that. I look at it like, oh God, yeah, here's you a free place to have your celebration of life, but we're gonna air it. We're gonna air it just for you, just because you are awesome. Been through so much. That's what I'm talking about. It's disgusting. I'm just tired of people using my family, you know? They were dehumanized enough, and I don't care about me. Like, I don't whatever, you know? Um, but not them. But I don't know how to remedy this problem. I don't know how to remedy from a missing child, a missing persons flyer, to how to not exploit them every step of the way after. But then I'm like, does it only mean that to me? Because I'm living, they're not here anymore. Does it mean anything to them? Am I standing on something that's a non-issue, I mean, it's pretty frustrating. It's very frustrating because the emotional part of it, have you noticed that some creators and some reporters even have a way of, I don't know how to say this. Y'all know I'm not very good with words. I'm not a wordsmith. but how people can creating and telling the story. Some may call it passionate, some may call it, I don't know, but some people have a way of, like, painting themselves into the story, and so when they tell the horrors of your family story, but they garner the sympathy? I don't know what to call that, but so I don't even know how to explain it properly, and so I'm really not doing a great job with that, but it's like it changes, there's a thin line where it goes from, "Oh, thank you." I mean, I do appreciate people who cover the story. There's people who do it. Maybe it's just me, it's probably just me because trust me, I'm always on the opposite end of the court and all these things, but I don't know. Just sometimes, and then people like mistake that for, "Oh, don't cry," and it's emotionalism and that kind of stuff is like what Tim Ballard does, okay? They get you and then it opens up your purse strings and then people just start, donating and um supporting the cause or whatever, which is a paycheck, you know? Anyways, there's just I don't know. I don't have the answers to all that yet. Uh, See, like and there's, like, Justin Lum, who is what I would call a mainstream reporter, and where East Idaho News, not so much, because they don't have to cover a beat, they don't have morning news, midday news, they don't have to report 3 times a day or however many times a day. They just report on specialty, of interest, cases, like and so Donna found out one, stream we did, when did East Idaho News come onto the scene, and so when baby Dior was missing, right in that same year, which is also fascinating. That I have a whole theory about all these missing kids in Idaho. You probably don't wanna hear it. But, yeah, so that, I mean, I appreciate both all the proof not just both, there's a more than 2. I appreciate all the reporters work on this, but I also know when I hear when I hear Nate Eaton saying, "I wanna interview everybody," and I have to say, "That is not true, Nate. That is not true." There's me and then Megan, finally came onto the scene, and I was just like, I felt like, "Oh my god." It made me feel bad for a long time, like, "Okay, like, am I n do I even effing exist?" People do not acknowledge me, and it's not that I need it, but I wanna tell the story too. And so while they're mainstreaming and plugging every damn body, it's like, what the hell? I know I'm not polished. I'm not gonna sit there and be "Mer, mer, mer, mer," I'm not gonna do that. So, I will not sell out, and just say what they want me to say. I'm gonna say what the hell I believe this is. I'm gonna say my research. I'm gonna say all the things that I've learned. I'm gonna say it, you know? I want to. I wanna at least be given that opportunity. So, I'm calling bullshit on that because myself nor Megan have ever been interviewed. And so, no. Anyways, alright, now on to the main event, right? We're gonna talk today about Miss Sarena Sharpe. As soon as I let me pull my thing up. Okay, I got it. Okay. This is back in the early days, so I didn't do well with the thumbnails, okay? So this is an audio interview, with Sarena, who is one of the 7 gatherers. I did make this, so let me pull that up real quick. Um, Okay, so Sarena Sharpe, she's one of the 7 gatherers. Sarena was part of the 7 gatherers, a group with fringe beliefs that they say deviated from mainstream LDS doctrine, but you know, not everybody's experience. I'll say that. This group, which included Lori and Chad, allegedly believed in concepts like zombies and casting out darkness. LDS Church connection. While the group had ties to the LDS Church, their beliefs were considered extreme and outside of accepted teachings, but not disavowed. Okay. This highlights the potential for fringe groups to operate within larger religious communities. No kidding. Yeah, that's why this keeps happening. That's why you see the Laffertys. That's why you see Avril LeBaron. That's why you see all the little fringe people fringing. Okay. But the only thing is, I mean, and Chad was even active. He was actually serving a calling whenever he, until his second day, I want to say, might have been a little after that. The second day of his preliminary hearing in August 20 of 2020, he got disfellowshipped, which it's interesting to go look at that wording from the church website. I'm just like, they used to do fake excommunications. Joseph Smith did. Um, let's see. Testimony. Sarena provided crucial testimony in the trials against Lori and Chad, shedding light on the group's beliefs and activities. And so my AI says her testimony helped establish the environment and mindset surrounding the crimes. Nobody called for help. Nobody helped the kids. Nobody helped the victims. Nobody helped anybody but themselves, my opinion. Connection to others. Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell. Serena's association with Lori and Chad places her at the heart of this case. Her testimony offered insights into their beliefs and actions, allegedly. Jason Mao, and my AI put another member of the 7 gatherers. And if you think about it in that context, he might not be officially one of the 7 gatherers, where they're sharing the 7 gatherers at gmail.com. And I've read today earlier in the case files that there were 17 messages between the group and some pictures where they are using one email address, but they're all like in-house messaging and casting out and being witches and shit. So I would love, love, love to see that their messages, their conversations, because it's pretty gross on the outside. They're just their text messages and stuff. And their Zoom hearings, boy, they're just networking. Okay. So if you think about it, because whenever Jason Mao has Melanie Gibb and Lori Vallow on or actually I think they have him on their podcast. I don't remember. No, it was on his. And he was like, "You're like one of us. You're a gatherer." So I mean, and so is Tom Harrison. And anyways, they're gathering, all right, and they are sweeping the earth, okay, and eliminating the tares. You want to know who the tares are? Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe, I would say. My mom was a tare. They're separating the wheat from the tares. They are eliminating darkness with their light. Remember, they're all about balance and everything, and they're bloodliners. So there's that. They got that whole higher priesthood thing going for them. So it also says Christina Atwood and Nicole Earle. These individuals were also reportedly part of the 7 gatherers. We learned about them just recently in the past couple live streams. Serena's testimony, we already heard that one. Fringe benefit, key takeaways, fringe beliefs. Serena's involvement highlights the dangers of fringe beliefs and how they can escalate with seemingly normal, I'm going to quote that, religious communities. Normal religious communities. Manipulation. The case raises questions about manipulation and coercion within these groups, as individuals may be influenced to adopt extreme views, or they may share them and then just deny them, like I believe was what's going on here. Importance of testimony. Serena's testimony demonstrates how individuals on the periphery can provide crucial information to help understand and prosecute crimes. Yet they didn't use them, Sarena, Christina, or Nicole in either of the trials. So I don't know. Damn folder. Okay, so we'll let me go ahead and push play, right? Let me okay. April 15, 2020. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining. Please hit the like. I must be going to the other door. Who's related? Uh-oh. Hey, Justice.
How's it going? Are you Sarena? I'm Detective Moffat with Chandler PD. You have a couple minutes to talk?
Sure.
Okay.
At least we can
I'm
hear
here
her.
to talk to you about Lori Vallow.
Oh, okay.
You want to sit down or come up here? What works better for you?
This is a disaster because we're in the middle of like lots of projects.
I think everybody is, because that's what being locked in your house does.
Yeah, it does.
It's up to you.
Okay, hold on just a second.
Sure.
Let me see if.
2000 warrior wrestler.
That's fine by me.
Did you forget your gloves, Detective Moffat? Your white ones.
Bugs just went in. Do you want to come?
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, come on in.
I love the giant sliding glass door. That's awesome.
Hey, Adam. Do you want to come join us? Yes.
Oh, no problem. Dining room table work?
That works. And can you remind me your name?
Detective Nathan Moffat. I'm with Chandler Police Department.
Okay.
So.
That's your badge right there.
Yeah. I just left Christina and Nicole's house. So. Yeah. So I'm kind of following up. Let me start with how you know Lori.
Okay. I met Lori through.
Just officially, if you need me, because I've never met anybody.
No. If you want to sit in, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I just wanted to invite you in case you wanted to.
Oh, no, the whole thing freaks me out, so.
No problem.
You're not the only one.
No.
If you need me, I'm happy to participate, but I have to do it.
Okay.
Anybody.
Okay.
So, how'd you meet Lori?
So I met Lori through some mutual friends.
Okay.
So Jason now is a friend of mine.
Okay.
He came out, and we were living in Connecticut at the time, by the way. So.
Okay.
I met Jason because I needed him to be a keynote speaker for a big function that I was doing out there for like youth, ages 12 to 18, for a regional event. So he came out. We got to be great friends. He just stayed with my family for that week.
Okay.
Because he had never been to New England. And he's like, you remind me of my friend named Melanie. Last name Gibb. Yeah, Melanie Gibb. And he's like, you should connect with her because we were doing a lot of the same things just in separate places.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. So I gave her a call, and we just became instant friends. And
how long? When was that about?
A year ago. Hold on just a second. Let me look at the calendar.
Okay, so how funny, because you met Lori, so went separate, but then Nicole has known Lori for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. So just kind of small world thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met, let's see, this year's 2020, 2019, 2018. So this is 2018 that I met Jason, and then probably fall of 2018, September, is when I met Melanie over the phone.
Okay.
And then she said, you should come to Preparing the People because I've been into food storage and preparation and all that kind of stuff for years.
Okay.
And we just became friends over the phone. She's like, and I was going to stay with Jason, but she's like, no, come with me. Then we don't have to worry about drivers and, because Jason, I'm not going to be alone with another man because I'm married.
Okay.
So it was just easier. And
Gotcha.
She was sweet and picked me up. She's like, I'll pick you up. You don't need to rent a car. Just I'll pick you up from the airport. And so.
Was that here, the Preparing of People conference here? Okay.
Yeah. So we ended up. So I stayed with Melanie that weekend, and she drove me to a friend's house to stay, and it was Lori's house. I had never met Lori before I walked through the door or heard of her.
So you stayed at Lori's house, not at Melanie's?
Correct.
Okay. Was Melanie living here at the time, or was she in Salt Lake? Or was she in Utah? So, okay.
Yeah.
But you just happened to, so you stayed at Lori's. Did Melanie stay with you guys at Lori's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's a bunch of us that stayed there, though.
Gotcha.
Do you need to know the names, or you good?
Not necessarily, unless it ties into kind of the big picture of things. I'm just trying to get a history
Dad was
of
there
it.
that weekend.
Okay. Well, did he stay at Lori's also?
Yep. So that's the first time I met any or even heard of any of those people.
When would you say that was? Would you say that was 2018? Like fall of 2018?
November.
Okay.
And I would say, I don't know if it's still on my agenda.
And is that when you met Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so first or one of the weekends in November before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
If that's helpful.
Did Chad and Lori know each other before then?
I assumed they did.
Okay.
I met everybody for the first time ever except for Jason Mao.
Okay.
So I was pretty overwhelmed that weekend with
Gotcha.
everything.
Okay.
I'd never been to Arizona since I was a kid, and I had come to visit.
Okay.
I didn't first time even meeting Melanie face to face. So
Gotcha.
I was when you meet a whole bunch of people and you're the only one that's
overload.
new and everybody's knows each other, you're just kind of wide-eyed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I guess so you meet everybody kind of for the first time in November of 18.
Yeah, but I'm there for the conference.
Okay.
So we go to
And that was for the Preparing of People conference.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I helped we go early. Oh gosh. If you need me to know specific dates, I think I flew in on Thursday. We went to the temple Thursday night. Friday, she had people over at her house for a morning side type thing.
Okay.
And then Friday night, we went early to Preparing the People conference to help set up.
Okay.
Because Melanie's was really tight with the people running the program.
Okay. And that was your first time even becoming involved or seeing Preparing of People?
My first time? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what happens from there with the relationship and with your relationship with Lori and kind of all the players involved type thing.
Yeah. So, we'd come back at night and just sit up talking and everybody, the big, huge group. And they seemed nice and normal to me at the time. No red flags at all.
Did there seem to be any, knowing then that Lori was married to somebody else and Chad was married to somebody else, did there seem to be an inappropriate relationship already building with them, or?
Well, that didn't even cross my mind ever.
Okay.
Not once.
Okay.
In retrospect, maybe I can see some things but a car ride alone, just because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But that's,
but no interaction with everybody else.
No, it was always combined, and I had no idea other than that, because they were both married, so that thought just didn't even enter.
Okay. So
call me naive, and it probably was, but I just didn't see anything. So
it's my understanding that it was right around that time that they met. So I think if their relationship or their friendship or whatever you want to call it at that time was still fairly new. So I don't think you.
Right. From my understanding, they had met at the previous.
Maybe it was just a couple months beforehand or something like that. Yeah, but it was somewhere right around the fall of 2018 is my understanding of when they met. So when did you move down here?
Just recently.
Okay.
So I flew out here to look for houses in July.
Okay. Had Charles already, the whole thing with Charles already happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I moved down. We moved down here. Well, I came to house hunt at the end of July. And then we moved down as a family. My kids came with me a few days later. And then I'm trying to think timeline. And then I had to fly back up, finish packing up the house. So technically, we actually closed on this house like September, right after or right before.
Did you stay somewhere in the interim before you moved here? Did you move directly from there to this house in September?
We stayed at an Airbnb
Okay.
and right by Queen Creek High School.
Okay.
The golf course. There's a rental home there that we stayed in for a month.
On Las Colinas golf course? The golf course on Rittenhouse?
I'm
Still
really
new.
bad with this. Ellsworth Loop.
Yeah.
And I was
If you make the left at Ellsworth Loop,
There's a
it's kind of,
whole bunch of houses there.
Okay.
Like kind of by the high school,
Yeah.
behind it. Yeah.
okay.
I don't know what that golf course is called. Yep. So we stayed there for 1 month and then we moved in here.
Do I need to
So-
remind it? I mean, I heard
From
that
the
part.
time that
Hold on.
an inappropriate relationship already.
Shh. Okay. About Charles. No red flags. No. Right? No red flags. Yeah. Me and Bewitched we colored a huge red flag right here. It's like the 6 red flags. 666. Oh my gosh. Okay. Did I pass it while I was talking? Let's see.
Like an inappropriate relationship already building with them, or
Well, that didn't even cross my mind ever.
Okay.
Not once.
okay.
You
In
know that.
retrospect, maybe I can see some things but like a
Exactly.
car ride alone, just because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
But that's, I mean,
but no
that's
interaction with
just-
everybody else.
No, it was
Okay.
like always combined, and I had no idea other than that, like, because they were both married, so like that thought just didn't even enter.
Okay.
I might not have
So-
gone back
Call me
on that.
naive, and it probably was, but I just didn't see anything. So
I hate this card they play.
It's my understanding that it was right around that time that they met. So I think their relationship, their friendship, or whatever you want to call it at that time, was still fairly new. So I don't think you.
right. From my understanding, they had met at the previous.
Maybe it was just a couple months beforehand or something like that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was somewhere right around the fall of 2018 is my understanding of when they met. So,
Yeah, let me pause it
When
so
did-
it stops shifting. Okay, so right here it says a couple months beforehand or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I cut mid sentence. Yeah, but it was somewhere right around the fall of 2018. And Carolina nailed it when she said, "Is it coinky dink or did they all meet at at the winter solstice?" Bingo, you are the winner. Winner chicken dinner. Okay. So she says, where did you move down here recently? Okay. I flew out here to look for houses in July. Okay. The whole thing with Charles already happened. She says, yes. So this is after July 11th, allegedly, is whenever she went down there to look for houses because she saw so many. She didn't see any red flags. And so she was like, oh, right, this is my next community. And then she moved. Whole family. The guy who didn't want to have anything to do with this interview. You heard that too? No. So, all right.
when did you move down here?
Just recently.
Okay.
So I flew out here to look for houses in July.
Okay. Had Charles already, the whole thing with Charles already happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I moved down. We moved down here. Well, I came to house hunt at the end of July. And then we moved down as a family. My kids came with me a few days later. And then I'm trying to think timeline. And then I had to fly back up, finish
Yay,
packing up the
girl.
house. So
Back up.
technically, we actually closed on this house like September, right after or right before.
Did you stay somewhere in the interim before you moved here? Did you move directly from there to this house in September?
We stayed at an Airbnb
Okay.
and right by Queen Creek High School.
Okay.
The golf course. There's a rental home there that we stayed in for a month.
On Las Colinas golf course? the golf course on Rittenhouse?
I'm
Still
really
new.
bad with this. Ellsworth Loop.
Yeah.
And I was
If you make the left at Ellsworth Loop,
There's a
it kind of.
whole bunch of houses there,
Okay.
like kind of by the high school,
Yeah.
behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what that golf course is called.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same.
So we stayed there for 1 month, and then we moved in here.
So, from the time that you met them to the time that that you moved down here, did you have many more face-to-face interactions with Chad, Lori, and
Just a couple.
Okay.
So I went to the Preparing of People in February in Idaho.
Okay.
And I stayed with my sister and went to Preparing of People. So stayed with my sister. We stayed in a hotel with all the Preparing of People for a couple days. My sister did not go though.
Okay.
And then so I saw.
Oh shit. Okay, I just changed the whole video. I did. Oh man. Oh no, we're not starting back over. Sorry. I don't even know where we were at, but she just said that she went to the one in the Preparing of People in Idaho, which was in February. That's the one that Lori wouldn't go to, that Hector Sosa was at. Chad was there and he met up with all the ladies, remember? And so Lori wouldn't go because she was evading Charles from trying to serve her. He said, even in his text conversations in the Chandler doc to Lori, he was like, I'm going to go up there and hand out a copy of all of your dance videos and all that stuff to all your people over there. Anyways, she didn't go, and it's not because she was like not repenting and stuff. And not wearing her garments. It's because she was exalted and she was being sneaky. Yeah, she was trying to do what Lori does, and that is not have any kind of confrontation, right? Yet she's passive aggressively, doing it covertly behind everyone's backs and waging war with them, and they're just like, what? Like unsuspecting victims, especially her children. So it's just interesting. I spelled his name Moffett, like they do here. Okay, let me see where we're at, and I'll fix the time.
I would say, I don't know if it's still on my agenda.
And is that when you met Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So first or one of the weekends in November before Thanksgiving.
Okay. Did Chad and Lori know each other before then?
Oh, after. Okay.
I assumed they did.
Okay.
Like, I met everybody for the first time ever.
Oh yeah, let me scoot.
Yeah. So I mean, we'd come back at night and just sit up talking and like everybody, the big huge group. And
let me back it up a little bit. Okay.
Tammy becoming involved or seeing Preparing of People.
My first time, yes.
Yeah. I guess we're kind of what happens from there with the relationship and with your relationship with Lori and kind of all the players involved type thing.
Yeah. So I mean, we'd come back at night and just sit up talking and like everybody, the big huge group. And
you call it the witching hour?
They seemed nice and normal to me at the time. No red flags at all.
Did there seem to be any?
We brought this up too.
Knowing then that Lori was married to somebody else and Chad was married to somebody else, did there seem to be an inappropriate relationship already building with them, or?
Well, that didn't even cross my mind ever.
Okay.
Not once.
Okay.
In retrospect, maybe I can see some things but like a car ride alone, just because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But that's.
But no interaction with everybody else.
No, it was like always combined, and I had no idea other than that, like because they were both married, so like that thought just didn't even enter.
Okay. So
call me naive, and it probably was, but I just didn't see anything. So
it's my understanding that it was right around that time that they met. So I think their relationship, their friendship, or whatever you want to call it at that time, was still fairly new. So I don't think you.
Right. From my understanding, they had met at the previous.
Maybe it was just a couple months beforehand or something like that. Yeah, but it was. It was somewhere right around the fall of 2018 is my understanding of when they met. So,
I love your comment.
When did you move down here?
Just recently.
Okay.
So, I flew out here to look for houses in July.
Okay. Had Charles already, the whole thing with Charles already happened?
Yes.
Okay.
For the third
Yeah. So I moved down. We moved down here. Well, I came to house hunt at the end of July. And then we moved down as a family. My kids came with me a few days later. And then I'm trying to think timeline. And then I had to fly back up, finish packing up the house. So technically, we actually closed on this house like September, right after or right before.
Did you stay somewhere in the interim before you moved here? Did you move directly from there to this house in September?
We stayed at an Airbnb
Okay.
right by Queen Creek High School.
Okay.
The golf course. There's like there was a rental home there that we stayed in for a month.
On Las Colinas golf course? The golf course on Rittenhouse? Still
Pretty
new.
bad with this. Ellsworth Loop.
Yeah.
And I was
If
like,
you make the left at Ellsworth Loop,
there's a
it's kind
whole bunch of houses there.
Okay.
Like kind of by the high school,
Yeah.
behind it. Yeah.
of, okay.
I don't know what that golf course is called. Yep. So we stayed there for 1 month, and then we moved in here.
So from the time that you met them to the time that that you moved down here, did you have many more face-to-face interactions with Chad, Lori, and
Just a couple.
Okay.
So I went to the Preparing of People in February in Idaho.
okay,
And I stayed with my sister and went to Preparing of People. So stayed with my sister. We stayed in a hotel with all the Preparing of People for a couple days. My sister did not go though.
okay,
And then
So her sister lives in Idaho.
So I saw
Dang.
Chad there. Lori was not there.
okay. Lori wasn't at that
No,
conference?
she was not. So then we had a girls' weekend in March where I flew out here, and that's where I met Christina and Nicole.
Okay,
And we worked at their warehouse because I love that kind of stuff, and I've done international stuff like that on the opposite
She
end.
actually does a
So
non-profit for the
I clicked with
church.
those two really fast.
We'll
okay.
go over that in a little while.
My pen is working barely.
So there's a bunch of girls for that weekend.
You met Christina and Nicole then?
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's like a year ago, March, so just over a year ago.
okay,
And then when I moved, and that's the second time like I had seen Lori face to face. We had some phone calls and stuff between,
okay.
and some email interchanges and texting.
And with your interaction with Lori, I guess after this and kind of in the March and stuff, had you seen anything with the Chad, the relationship develop or progress, or?
I was out in Connecticut, so I didn't and I was not like in the inner circle, if
Okay.
that's what you want to say.
Did you do any of the podcasts
Oh.
with them?
You're
Yes.
a seven
Okay.
grader.
So when I
girl.
came out in March, I did 2 podcasts.
Okay,
All in one morning. It was Monday morning right before I left. So I did 2 podcasts.
Are you unaware that you can do podcasts from your house?
Because again, I was friends with Jason and
yeah. Is that about the time that Jason was doing the podcast with them?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll show that to y'all too.
and Jason and I, again, we're friends, and so they wanted me to come on and talk about
Barely.
how I met Jason and
Barely.
like how it went up there when he came and spoke to the youth. up there.
Okay. Obviously,
We did
Um,
the
you're-
second podcast right at the same time.
Okay.
We did both.
are you LDS?
Mhm.
Okay. Did
Like
you ever
mine.
hear or see any of the Lori and Chad and maybe some of the other groups kind of way out of left field compared to the LDS church?
No,
Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff from the beginning
she says Bible
A few
instead of the
things.
Mormon.
that aren't like aligned with straight church doctrine that
Okay.
is taught over the pulpit. But I wasn't concerned about anything until
If y'all don't think that if the church like sent out actual letters when the kids were missing, allegedly telling members where Chad lived. I don't know if everybody worldwide got the reminder to, not impede an investigation. You should talk to your clergy. And so I'm just saying they all pretty much, except for Nicole, she's like, no, none was weird. And I mean, that tracks because, I mean, come on, we don't get to Ruby, Frankie, and Jody Hildebrandt like saying, that it was different. It's like they're also bidding for the church as well. And I mean, possibly because their salvation is on the line. Because if they were to just be honest, then, if they were honest, they probably wouldn't keep their temple recommend. A temple recommend is, in my opinion, a Latter-day Saints salvation, because when you get excommunicated from the church, you are shut out. You're going to the outer darkness. You are an anti-Mormon. You had the good word and then you turned it down. So, I mean, there's a lot at stake here when you really think about it. So I don't think they're being totally honest. My opinion.
Like that March.
Okay.
There was a couple of things like maybe there that I was a little uncomfortable with, but then afterwards, just some things that they were saying. Are you LDS?
No.
By any chance? Okay.
So she's going to,
like for example, she's talking about not repenting.
Okay.
And that we don't need to repent anymore. And I'm like, it says, for the Bible that we need to repent and come to God.
Not when you're exalted, bro.
That was a big trigger for me. They also about that time too, she kind of cut me off as well. She said that I was all sorts of stuff. I'm sure you've got all the evidence for that. But
is that when she said you were an evil spirit or dark or whatever? Okay.
Which I did not know at the time. I got really, really sick, and they told me that Zulema was going to handle like me and just help me through it, and Lori just kind of stopped communicating with me, but never told me why. Nobody, and Zulema didn't tell me this. When did you meet Zulema? At the first Preparing the People in November.
Okay.
And the second.
And we became good friends.
And the third. Now they're good friends.
Like pretty fast. So I saw her again at the February one.
Okay.
And we talked often. I probably talked more to her than anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, after the March one, they just said that I was afterwards like prideful and I was going to turn evil. And I didn't know any of that though until just recently. Melanie Gibb is the one who told me that. And
okay.
There you go.
That was very hurtful.
That you told her to, don't say anything about the church, I bet.
I'm not LDS, but I believe in the power of prayer, and trust me when I say you don't need their prayers.
And the kids didn't.
Yeah, that was hurtful too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't understand what was going on, and I just met people, and I'd only met her twice, like in person.
I wish Tylee and JJ and Tammy and Charles and Joe were here to tell you about how it hurt them. What you and your friends did, Sarena, your fast friends. Okay? There's something more going on here. And it pisses me off all over again.
And have somebody say, like, treat you, all of a sudden, there's a huge flip that's been, a huge switch that's been flipped, and you just don't understand why. And I thought it was because I was sick.
Okay.
And she said, like, evil spirits are, like, attacking you. And I did know that. She did tell me that she said, what did she say? That there's a breach and that I was being indoctrinated at night. That's what she told me.
Other spirit.
I thought, dear. So I tried to just get better and fix anything that I thought might be wrong in my life, which we've always got stuff to work on. So
absolutely.
But then after that, she wouldn't talk to me, and I guess that's when she said I was turning evil. My husband was evil, and which I didn't know she said that either until Melanie told me in January.
Melanie.
Just this past January. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Couldn't talk to the cops, but can talk to all.
Knowing now, I guess how much of the investigation have you seen on the news or anything else like that? Since this has progressed, and you're kind of aware of all the different things that we're investigating. Looking back on it, is there anything that you ever saw or heard that you go, oh, the police really should know that type thing, or that doesn't sit right, or, it just doesn't feel right, or is there anything like that you saw? It kind of sounds like she cut you out kind of early. Yeah, which long before all this
protection for me. And so I only had those two contacts before I moved here. And then after I moved here, I saw her twice.
You saw Lori twice? Mm-hmm. When was that?
So I moved here in July.
Okay.
And it was either Zulema or Lori, and I can't remember which, said, hey, let's have a lunch. And so we met at like all the girls at Cafe Rio.
Costa Vida?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So we met there for lunch.
Tylee's necklace.
And it was weird.
Yep.
Okay.
I could just tell things were weird.
Is that the girls' lunch that Alex was present on?
Yes.
Okay. Was that
And
the
Alex,
first time that you met him?
No, I had met him.
there's also a receipt in the Jeep that they took pictures of when they impounded it, and it is of Costa. Wait, is it Costa Vida? They went to another Mexican restaurant too, so I need to find my crime scene pictures because we can look at the house, where Charles was killed.
When I met
Let me look.
Lori the first time.
Okay.
So in November at that Preparing of People, he came over
Okay.
once or twice.
Did you have much interaction with him? Anything that stands out about that interaction? I mean, anything? No. Okay.
No.
Anything that you ever heard that we should know? It sounds like you're kind of on the periphery, especially
I was
living out of
definitely.
state. And,
Thank heavens.
right.
I was really protected, I think, through this whole thing. No, it actually made moving here harder, but we just knew we were supposed to move here. So regardless of...
Wow, the Holy
It sounds
Spirit.
like you have really good friends in Christina and Nicole. So
They are...
everything happens for a reason, right?
Yes. And they're amazing. And my kids, we're supposed to be here. My kids are amazing, and they've had a good experience. So we're supposed to be here. It's great.
Well, I'm glad.
Been...
We'll let Tylee and JJ know.
So
Never
the
mind,
reason that I came to be here to
Jared.
talk to you. Hi, Jared. I'm Nate.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I don't know if you've seen any of this in the media and stuff, but this was a thing with that Chad was sent Lori, and the names were blocked out because I didn't know how everybody knew each other and why. But one of these is Nicole, and the other one is Christina, and then you, and then obviously Melanie Gibb, Jason Mao. And so,
Mind if I see this?
no, absolutely. It's better from the beginning, so you can kind of get where they believe your history is and where everybody else's history is.
James and Elena.
So, Chad is a writer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically writing a book of their story with Chad being James and Lori being Elena.
Mm-mm-mm.
Ah. Okay. That's
That's
what James and
disgusting.
Elena is. Chad
Yes.
and Lori. Okay. 7 children and 3 daughters. So Lori's guardian angels. I don't recognize everybody. I do recognize, everybody's heard of Kenneth Cope. Melanie is her niece. I met her once really quick at that lunch. Gosh. So is this Christina and Nicole?
Yeah, one of them's, I don't remember which one was which, but yes.
Yeah. They did tell me that.
Tell you which part?
All of this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about or when that was, or?
She told me that. I think it was March.
Okay, in March when you were down, because that one was here, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's when you came here.
Could have been before that. I don't think so, though.
But that was just for the girls' weekend type thing.
Yeah.
And not for a Preparing the People conference.
Correct.
Okay.
We went to the temple. We went out to lunch. We went and worked at Gathering Humanity.
Okay.
We did
Gathering
service
Humanity.
projects there, and I actually went 2 days to that.
Okay.
Nicole and Christina's
And just
NPO.
because that is my thing. So that's why I connected so well with Christina and Nicole.
Okay. So anything that you can think of, I mean, I don't know how much you've talked to, but both Christina, especially Christina, but then Nicole, in hindsight, they heard things that they're like, wow, that really didn't sit right. But it sounds like you had limited contact with, or no contact with Lori after March. So
No, I did. Remember, I said when I moved here, I saw her twice.
okay, yeah, the lunch.
The lunch, and then she had some girls over to her house one night.
Okay.
Just shortly after that, and I think that was in July because I was house hunting at that time.
Okay.
And it might have been the very first part of August, like right around there. It was pretty close together.
I wonder if it
A week or
was
two.
August 1st or 2nd when they had
But
that.
nothing that stood out, nothing that you heard.
It's hard to separate kind of all the media on the facts, but I'm trying to think. I was separated, obviously, by Miles, which was good, and then being ostracized as well. I think the only thing that concerned me was that March weekend when she was talking about her husband being
March. Okay.
and this was one of the red flags I was talking about for that March.
Okay.
Her husband was now, because I had met him in November, Charles.
Okay.
And then just briefly, I was like leaving when he was coming in.
Okay.
Because I know he wasn't there
for the conference.
He wasn't there for most of the weekend.
Okay.
Until the end. So in March, she was saying that he had been possessed by an evil spirit. I think that's their go-to. And that it was no longer Charles, that it was somebody else inside of his body, and that they needed to get rid of, like somehow, like she needed to cast him. She needed help casting the evil spirit out, or something like that. So, but zombie, that's what, like, it was a zombie, is what she called it.
They never talked about killing the zombie, though, right?
No, that's casting it out, like getting rid of the zombie, but not actually like killing his body.
Yes.
But like
removing the spirit.
Yes,
Let her talk.
Yeah, and then somehow like removing the spirit. Like Charles was already gone, so I didn't know if that meant Charles would come back or the body would die or whatever.
Okay.
She does that inflection in her.
Yes, removing the spirit of Ned. I think it was Ned.
Okay.
Which I thought I was a little uncomfortable with that whole thing. Like, obviously, that's
you got a new name. What's the difference in him getting a new name?
Wow.
Anything else you could think of?
She talked to me in August, so that beginning of August, end of July, when I went to her house. She told me that night, because that's the first time I'd seen her since Charles had died, and I just asked her, like, "Are you okay? Like, what happened?" Because I don't really like watching the news. I don't like media because I don't like.
They screwed up most of the time, but
oh crap!
What did she say happened?
Like in her words,
that you remember.
Okay, so she told me that Charles came to get JJ.
Okay.
From, I think it was school. And when he was picking up JJ, Tylee was there.
Okay.
And then she had Tylee take JJ out to the car. And then he picked up a bat, Charles did. But her brother Alec, is it Alec or
Alex?
Alex was there. And Alex just shot and killed him.
Okay.
And I think she said shot him twice. Is that right?
Yeah.
Shot and killed him, and it was horrible. And he came at him with the bat and hit. I think he said he hit. Charles hit Alex with the bat, and then Alex had to shoot him.
Gotcha.
So that's the story I got. But it sounds very much like that's the story she gave to police as well. So
very similar, yeah.
She wasn't going to tell me anything. I mean, we weren't close at all, and she thought I was going to turn evil.
Right.
Lady.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm going to, I ran out of business cards. So I'm going to give you my desk phone number and then my email address. They have us working from home 3 out of 4 days a week. So email's best because like this is my office day and I don't think I'm back in the office until next Friday. So email, because we work 4 10-hour days and we're just kind of drawing office days. And then I also did give, I gave both Christina and Nicole my phone number in case you lose it. I gave Nicole my email address. I forgot to give Christina it.
Okay. I can give it to her.
I'm getting promoted and going back to the road in a couple weeks, so I figure it's not worth ordering business cards.
Good for you.
So
yeah, so what Melanie told me in February, or January, she gave me kind of the rundown of everything that happened. She said
I bet she the hell did.
I started asking too many questions last spring.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that Lori became cynical. Mm-hmm. I think what worked well for them is they were looking for other people that bought into their outlandish beliefs. And I think if you didn't buy in, you weren't a believer. And I had this conversation with both Christina and Nicole. Is all religion is based a lot on faith. Right. And if this is their religious views, how do you dispute or debunk it when it's their religious views? Right. And I think that's a lot of what this is. And they were hunting for people like Zulima, very like-minded people that would follow this.
Right. Well, and they start very much with things that are mainstream. Yeah. And then when you kind of like, yes, I believe that. Yes, I believe that. And then they kind of add to that. So it makes, and some of it makes sense when you like look at the scriptures. It's something you've never heard of before, but like maybe. Yeah. But then when I got sick and started asking questions, like, and when they started talking about like repentance thing, like some things just didn't sit well. And Melanie said that when I started asking questions is when they decided that I was going to turn dark, and my husband already was. And
I think anybody who disagrees with their view is dark, and the more you disagree, the darker you are, and the more you're in their way, the darker you are. So,
like common sense.
So, can I answer any questions for you?
You already did.
What is going on with the investigation? Is she in custody?
She's still in custody.
In Idaho? Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a hearing with that?
She has a preliminary hearing set for May 5th.
May 5th. Okay.
Yeah. I think it got delayed because of the COVID-19 and they're not gathering courts and stuff like that. I mean, it's really kind of unprecedented where we're at in the country. Right. For sure. I did read a thing because Idaho's had very, very few cases that they might open the state up a little bit sooner than everybody else. Okay. So, but last I heard it's May 5th, and there's a lot of data to go on. I mean, you look at, we have the Chandler PD case, we have the Gilbert PD case, we have the Rexburg PD case, the missing kids. Right. You have Fremont County Sheriff's Department case for Chad Swat. So and then the FBI hasn't been involved in different facets. So it's a very big investigation. And a lot of the investigations are ongoing. So,
and do you guys kind of work together to figure this out?
We've been working together. I mean, we've been working nonstop, and FBI and Gilbert's going out tomorrow to do more interviews, and I did the 3 today. And this. So
do you mind me asking, like, because you're saying Gilbert and Chandler?
Yes.
There's why?
Melanie Boudreau's husband was shot at in October.
Wow, that's
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. He was pulling up to his driveway, and for all practical purposes, in my opinion, Alex was waiting there in Tylee's Jeep and fired a shot at him. So, and I think we have enough. We would, if Alex hadn't passed away, we would have had enough to charge him for that already, and a couple other different things. So, you got a lot of different moving pieces on this. But so you have, 6 different jurisdictions when you put everything together with the feds and stuff that are all investigating different pieces of this, but they're all interwoven. It's all very much one rolling event of disaster following Chad and Lori. And so
it's so upsetting and shocking that somebody who seems, because they seemed normal when I met them, just kind, like-hearted, nice people who opened up their homes so that a whole bunch of people could crash there from out of state. And I mean,
well,
this is weird.
My belief is that
I actually met JJ and Tylee that weekend.
I broke my camera.
Yeah.
I think.
My belief is they're kind of rolling after a self-fulfilling prophecy of whatever it is that they think benefits them right now, and it's just, it's just kind of gross. I mean, really, with
It's
the
disgusting.
totality of the investigation and the things that we've uncovered and stuff, it's bizarre at best.
Really.
It's just, it's one of those things. It's tragic, and at the end of the day, there's still 2 kids missing,
And the deaths that are like.
Yeah,
piling
Tylee and
up
JJ were
are
still missing, y'all.
horrific.
yeah, absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
Because
So-
she has, what, 2 husbands?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then he's got his wife,
Mm-hmm.
who's seemingly out of the blue.
Yep.
Weeks after she moved there is what
and then they played detective.
news is saying. I didn't even know she had moved.
Yeah, she moved there end of August,
Yeah.
beginning of September. So.
And then Alex passed away. Did I assume they have a coroner's? Because I know.
Yeah, that's still pending an autopsy.
Okay.
I'm
sure there's findings, but
Right.
probably not released
It
yet.
does appear that there might be an underlying. I'm saying karma got him. It does appear that there might be some underlying medical conditions. It's still pending
Wow.
a lot of toxicology and stuff, but there's a very good chance that Alex's could be a natural death.
Okay.
So I'm not as convinced for everybody else. So
And those
So-
kids.
yeah,
Hey,
Yeah.
girl, hey.
Because she seemed like when I met her in November with her
It's
kids there, like she really loved her kids. As far, I mean, I didn't even question that,
yeah. But hypothetically, if evil spirits get in the way, and
And they're not
So-
her kids anymore, just like he wasn't her husband anymore.
What?
And they're
Does she know
stopping her from
something?
doing whatever she thinks she needs to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Put that part right there.
So what about? Do you mind me asking about Zulema? Like,
spirits get in the way.
Like, it sounds like she knows the logic, whether Melanie Gibb told her, whether Sarena just knows because that's the group think, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, did she, because she's like, well, he's not her husband anymore. So the kids, basically the kids aren't her kids anymore. I don't know. I didn't like that, amongst other things.
question
Anyway,
that,
anyway.
Yeah. But hypothetically, if evil spirits get in the way, and
and they're not
So-
her kids anymore, just like he wasn't her husband anymore.
Yeah.
And they're stopping her from
Me
doing whatever
too,
she
girl.
thinks she needs to do. Yeah.
Yep.
So what about? Do you mind me asking about Zulema? Like,
Right.
where is she in all this? What happened to her?
She's still at her house in Gilbert, as far as I know.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that we wanted to follow up with her on, and she's retained an attorney. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so we actually have a call into her attorney right now to try to do a follow up interview on her.
Wow.
But yeah,
Oh my gosh.
she was very much subscribed
Was
to
she your
lots of
friend?
Lori and Chad's extreme views.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I do know that. Because, like I said, we were close for a few months there
yeah,
until I was ostracized. But
it's a good group to get kicked out of.
yes,
It's
So
also awesome
you
to
get
go
kicked out
to
of something,
Perry
that's a good
Picture,
group to get
believe.
kicked out of. I'm just saying.
I know.
Um,
Pretty convenient.
For sure. Do you have any questions for me? Like anything
Not that
else
I can think of. I mean, it's I know that like Christina had heard she was at Zulema's house during a prayer thing, and Lori got way overboard, and there were statements made. And I'm more concerned about what you know firsthand.
I wasn't. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wasn't there.
So
Yeah. Who wasn't there?
it's,
None
at
of
least I
you
have
did.
some good background information and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're just kind of following up, and clearly JJ and Tylee aren't with you, correct?
No.
No, haven't
No.
heard or seen from them in quite a while.
I wish.
And, that's part of the thing is just making sure that you
I don't know.
really
That's
run
kind of
down
weird with that comment she
any
said
and all
Right.
acquaintances.
about
Right.
Charles.
I would
And the
assume
kids.
that
Knowing the kids are missing right now during this interview, and then just that comment I backed it up to a while ago, where she's like, "Well, Charles wasn't her husband anymore, and so the kids weren't her kids anymore." She knew what happened to Charles, and so right here, they're missing, and she connected that right there. He didn't pick up on it because he's just chatting with a friend, and this is super, super annoying and frustrating. Oh my gosh.
and every normal person, when they see the national news about 2 kids
You're not
missing, if the kids were
normal.
there, they would, especially when Lori's in jail, they would go, "Hey, I have the
Right
kids.
here.
They're here, safe and sound," and that hasn't happened. So
I keep hoping, but like that is becoming more dim, huh?
Yeah.
As time goes on.
Dim?
Do you guys have
Absolutely.
any hope that the kids are alive?
personally, I don't.
Alive?
I just don't.
Not
at this
missing,
point.
alive.
But, Lori's been on the run since the day of a welfare check that she didn't know was coming, and basically left town that day and hasn't
That's
looked
different.
back. Was sitting in Hawaii, makes statements to the attorney that the kids are fine, and now you're sitting in jail. If you left your kids with a reasonable, responsible adult, and you're sitting in jail for abandonment, and they truly are just with a responsible adult, once you go, all right, the
They're
jig's up, they're right here.
Yeah.
So, and they haven't. So I just, with that and a lot of other things that I just can't discuss,
Lord's
obviously,
favorite.
because of all the pending investigations, I have very, very little hope. Slim to none, and Slim left town. So,
Yikes.
and that's me personally, but so this is my contact information.
Okay.
If you happen to think, tonight, next week, whenever, like, oh man, I just forgot that I heard this or that or whatever, just follow up, just call me and leave me a voicemail or shoot me an email.
Okay. And you're looking for firsthand stuff, because Melanie told me a lot in January, but you're not looking.
We've interviewed Melanie. Yeah, myself and the Gilbert detective interviewed Melanie for a couple hours at the police department, and then they have since re-interviewed her a couple times. So if that's...
Yeah, she called me after that, and she said, "I think I need to tell you what's going on, and I need to tell you what happened to you." And so she actually apologized, which was really sweet. But she's like, "I just felt like I need to go to the police." I'm like, "Yeah, you did."
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy crap.
Absolutely.
So,
what is a good contact number for you?
He does not pry into nothing or anything.
All right. Yeah, so like I said, if something comes up that you think of, just shoot me an email or give me a call.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
Yep.
I'm going to grab this, because
no problem.
everything I seem to leave out gets to the media one way or another.
Okay. I wonder what he left out before.
The only blessing of this COVID thing is it's got this case out of the media for a little while, because it's out of sight, out of mind. Because this is a difficult case at a lot of turns, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of victims attached to it. What we want to do is accountability and accountability and justice for the victims in the case. So
and give you guys the space to figure it all out too.
Yeah, absolutely,
nice
absolutely.
that you have that time.
I had an email leaked to the media last week that was all over national, or 2 weeks ago,
on this
all
case?
over national news. Yeah, and it was in a response to Charles had 2 adult sons. Their mom's been a point of contact, and I'm like, hey, look, we're still working on it. I hope to get Lori indicted, and she ran to the media with it. So you never know who's going to run to the media next for whatever reason. So it just makes the job more difficult.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you trying to get to it.
Yeah,
that's
choose water.
The bottom line in all of this is our job is to find the truth.
Right.
If she's done nothing wrong, or if he's done nothing wrong, at the end of the day, absolutely. So, all right, you guys.
This is a big one.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Nicole and Christina. I've been an officer for over 20 years. I've been in homicide for 11 and a half.
Have you solved any crimes?
Case I ever see or we ever see, and it's just. It's beyond reality what the heck's going on here. So. Oh yeah, no, it's total made for TV movie. Yeah. So, thank you guys.
Or the big screen maybe.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and if something comes up, like I said, if you remember, just give me a call.
If you think of anything, just.
Absolutely, and there might be, because like I said, I'm going to type up my interview, and then it'll go to the FBI. There's kind of one agent they're not, the FBI isn't taking the investigation, but they're helping orchestrate. You have, several different agencies, so it's kind of a clearinghouse. So they might have some more information or another question they want me to ask you, okay? All right.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's a little clip I put in there. Water, earth, fire. Okay. I just found something that this is how my life operates. So, okay. So, Let me open it. It's probably gonna open another tab. No, it's not. Okay. Okay. Again, I'm just flipping through my Dropbox looking for crime scene photos, and this is the Gilbert Police Department. Okay, so this is Brandon's for the most part. Right here, it just happened to be right in my eye at my eye level, and it says Brandon. Oh, Brandon called me. I'm sorry, Brandon. This is 11/22/2020. Brandon called and we discussed a discovery made by Kay Woodcock, Charles Vallow's sister. Kay located a fake. I didn't know it was fake. Kay located a fake Gmail account, blank, that was suspected to have been created by Lori. Lori used the Gmail account to communicate directly with Chad prior to Charles's death. I later forwarded the information to Chandler, Detective Moffat, as it is related to his investigation. Brandon also suggested I look into Melanie Gibb, right? Melanie was a close friend to Lori and was referred to by Brandon as a recruiter for their religious group. I was just like, okay, did y'all ever hear that before? Let me go over there. I think I broke my camera too. See, I'm stuck. So it kept flipping and everything. So I'm just going to keep it off. I mean, I didn't move it. It just looks like I'm stuck. So did y'all know that it was a fake one? I mean, I remember mom saying that, oh my God, I turned on my computer, she had plugged in my Uncle Charles's printer and wound up. I thought it was his email address. I did not know or think that it could be fake. Did y'all know that? Come on, I need some feedback. Or do y'all hear me? Yeah, I see my bubble going. Brandon called and we discussed a discovery made by Kay Woodcock, Charles Vallow's sister. Kay located a fake. Okay, I'll go. Let's see. Brandon called and we discussed a discovery made by Kay Woodcock, Charles Vallow's sister. Kay located a fake Gmail account that was suspected to have been created by Lori. Lori used the Gmail account to communicate directly with Chad prior to Charles's death. I later forwarded the information to Chandler Detective Moffat as it's related to his investigation. Brandon also suggested I look into Melanie Gibb. Melanie was a close friend to Lori and was referred to by Brandon as a recruiter for their religious group. What caught me is the fake Gmail account. It's not Charles's, like I always thought. It's a fake Gmail account, probably the same one that she might have used to give Chad an alibi, kind of like the KK Walker. And what's interesting is that in the Chandler docs, we also saw over the last couple weeks where Lori and Nicole Earl go and they meet with Jason Mao in the celestial room in the temple. And then boom, there's emails between, or there's one email for sure between Jason and Lori. And she's like, can you come talk to a youth group? Do you get it? So why would Lori be just meeting Jason Mao and then emailing him saying, oh my God, I love your books. Oh my God. Just the whole weird fangirl, like-minded people thing. And then why would she be saying that she has a youth group for Jason to go talk to? Because I'm about to maybe fill you in on this. I don't know if many of you know this, but people they repeat patterns, they repetitious behaviors and or roles, So what I'm noticing is a trend of Jason Mao speaking to quote unquote youth groups, okay, under the guise, okay, I do believe this is my little speculation. Just like the same weekend whenever Jason Mao was in Billings, Montana, which is about 5 and some odd hours away from Rexburg, the same weekend that JJ was murdered. So I'm just like, okay, so he was speaking to the singles ward there. Okay, allegedly. I don't buy it. His flyers, they don't fly. They look very generic, very basic. They're not your I really feel like these religious conferences are a front for their gathering, so to speak. And they're maybe not doing such upstanding things, like as the image that we're projected. Okay, because also in the interview that we just listened to of Sarena, she said that she met Jason Mao because she got him to go and speak to 1,012 to whatever year olds. That's freaky and scary. And plus he's a CSE teacher. Okay. He works for his payroll. He is on the church's payroll. I just find that so disturbing. So disturbing. Oh. And another thing before we go to the other interview, I wanted to anyway, so let me finish this right here though. This little blurb I found right here in the Gilbert Police Department. I didn't know it was a fake email address. I didn't know that Lori was using it to communicate with Chad. With Chad before Charles's death. So that shows that she created it before. That's probably what Charles called her out on, saying, you're trying to get Chad Daybell to write a book for me, to ghostwrite a book, but all you're doing is giving him an alibi. And that whole blow up, that's how Charles found out that there was even an affair going on. And so then there's the KK Walker email, where she's sending that to Chad so that while she's in Houston, I say procuring or securing her financial freedom in the forefront. She's also inviting Chad Daybell down to Houston. They go to a temple there. I actually have a book that came from my Uncle Charles's things, which means Lori's things. You understand? That is a book of all the temples and like what they mean and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if she bought this, because the whole thing, one of their things is standing in holy places. That's Chad's series or whatever. And I mean, I believe it. I believe that these people, like the Delphi case, are hidden in plain sight. And we just got to change our way of looking. I really think so. I think that's how these people go undetected. But that's me and my conspiratorial critical brain, because I'm very critical. So I don't know how I could be conspiratorial. It's just not proven yet. Anyways, let me see. I'm trying to pull up. I already have it. Okay. I still don't know what's wrong with my camera. Okay. Do y'all have any questions before we go to this next one? Yeah. What was the date that Brandon went to them? The numbers confuse me. I feel you. It said 11/22. 11/22/2020. I can't blow it up. Oh yeah, I can. Whoa. Right here. 1/1/22/2020. Now this is when Brandon had called. I mean, he had been in contact with the investigator, his Gilbert, the Gilbert investigator. But I was looking over, we're going to go over Alex's whole whatever, when he died and everything, like Zalema, her daughter, her son, and how the police were investigating him. They were watching them. And not today. We're not going to go over that today, but we are going to go over that probably next. I think it's important because a lot of that and a lot of people haven't gone over that. I mean, if they view it like I do, and I'm just like, well, he's deceased. So, but there's still a lot to find out and, just kind of go over, at least refresh our memories, with Alex and Zalema, that whole leg of it, I mean, that's a huge part. And, does Zalema have use immunity? And if so, does it help her? And has it helped them? Anyways, I'm trying to find my way out of here and back to here. Okay, so I'm going to crank this up and just let me know if y'all have any questions. I'm still back here digging, it's what it's how I end up orbiting. I'm leaving this open so that you can look at the transcript here on the right side. Even though I do have the words when they come here, when they talk. And this is on 4/28/2021 at the Chandler Police Department, but it is Rexburg. And I don't know if it's 2 Rexburg or, 2 Idaho investigators or if it's mixture. I don't remember. We'll find out. Rexburg, and I'm with Fremont. So we got Rexburg PD and Fremont County. Okay. Down here at the bottom. Put them in the corner. Oh my gosh, come on. I try to keep it at the normal speed, but I'll go 110. I like to hear the delays. And when we're doing this, not everybody. I don't know. It depends. I don't know if I should skip or what. Tell me about it. I don't know where the words are.
Kind of jumbled over here, but.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
This is
How are you?
Detective Ray Hemsdale.
Nice to meet you.
Nope.
Nice to meet you.
Patriarchal grip. No, I'm thinking.
Thank you.
Grab my card info.
It's gonna be hot down here this week, right? Hotter than
I
usual.
haven't checked, so I try not to think about it. So are you both from Idaho then? Or-
Yes.
Okay,
So he's with Rexburg PD and I'm with Fremont County
okay,
Sheriff's Office.
which is just north of Rexburg.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, Serena, are you okay if I record our conversation?
Yes, you're okay.
Hell yeah.
You bet.
She done talked to everybody and she knows what to do. The wheels on the bus go round and round. Yeah.
So today's date is Wednesday, the 28th of April.
You pay my drink water.
Oh, you bet, yeah. Myself, Detective Tammy Daybell, and Sarena Sharpe today. Again, Sarena, thanks for coming in. I know you probably have a lot going on. But we're just over here doing some follow-up on Chad and Lori Daybell case. And from our understanding, you've had one interview, right? Back in, was it April or June of 2020? So who did you talk to back then? Do you remember? Was it
Right
here?
before
No, they came to my house.
Okay.
Melanie
You
did
need to find them.
Media Blitz.
They
No,
can.
you're good. I was just
Okay.
curious if you remember.
I don't.
We're not gonna go into all of what you've already gone over.
Why?
We just kind of have a couple follow-up questions and things like that. But let's start off, how long have you known Chad and Lori? Or Lori? Because
Since your previous
Lori
lives.
and Chad together when you first met them?
Yes,
Okay.
but together as in they were in the same place. So I came here in November of 2019 for a Preparing the People conference. I had never met anybody here except for Jason now at the time. And so Jason had come out to New England to do a big fireside speaker for us for a bunch of youth. We had a multi-state thing for youth.
Huh.
Keenan was our keynote speaker. And
Hmm.
he said, "You remind me of my friend Melanie." So
Can y'all
he
hear?
introduced me to Melanie over the phone, Gib, and I started speaking with her, and I was already aware of this conference and
Because Humanimal can't hear.
considering attending, because I was up in Connecticut, and she's like, "Well,
You
come
do a
stay
check.
with me." And I'm like, "Okay."
Let's
I
do a
never met-
sound check. She says she can't hear the audio on the video, which I was just now about to tell Donna that I'm gonna back out and come back in. That way, see if that fixes my camera because I don't know, it's bothering me. So we'll do I'm gonna pop out while y'all do a sound check. We'll come
I
back.
heard before, but I knew Jason was speaking, and
So don't-
I was
I'm
interested
coming
in
back.
the subject. So
Well, she when she got down, the screen left with her, so when she'll be back just shortly. Can you hear me?
I didn't keep it playing. It's still playing back here. Okay.
Okay.
Fix my
let me-
camera though, so there's that part. Okay, now we'll do the sound check. Sorry, guys. As soon as I backed out, I was like, I wonder, because it's still playing. Anyways, all right. Well, we fixed one. Okay, so I'm gonna play the sound. Let me know
she took a walk with
if you can
both
hear
of
it.
them on Sunday morning, and didn't notice anything unusual, but I wasn't expecting anything
Sound.
unusual too. I mean,
Okay,
everybody
good.
there was brand new to
Cool.
me, so I didn't see anything unusual.
Thank
What
y'all.
was the conference at the house, or what did they talk about?
No, so there was a fireside at the house, like a morning meeting type thing for people to come to. I think that was on a Friday morning. But the conference itself was at the facility. I'm so sorry, like, I came from Connecticut, I didn't know where I was. I just got a ride to different places and I had never been here before,
No, you're
like
fine.
as an adult, so I was pretty overwhelmed with meeting everybody and I just trusted, we were at the conference.
Yeah.
Wherever the conference was held, that's where it was, for the conference.
Yeah, and it's a long time, so I don't expect you to
Yeah,
know
yeah.
all that stuff. How long were Lori and Chad kind of teaching the teachings that they were going on and for the conference? Was there anything different that they were teaching that wasn't in the LDS faith?
Yes, definitely. So Lori and Chad didn't say anything to me until Sunday morning. Lori kind of pulled me aside and started saying a few things that were not like according to the LDS faith, that were outside kind of that purview.
Did she ever talk about
Sarena Sharpe. Sorry.
zombies or
Not at that time.
demons or anything like that?
That came later.
Okay.
Mhm. But she, like that morning is when she talked about like multiple probations and like coming to the earth multiple times. And
How did you feel about that?
how did I personally feel about that? Kind of mixed. So part of me wanted to believe it. Part of me has had like deja vu experiences, and I've had deja vu. And so for me, it kind of explained those kind of moments in my life. And I thought, well, maybe maybe it's true. I kind of believe it. I did. I believed it. Mixed too, though, because I didn't know I had just met Lori, so a little bit of hesitancy, but I did believe her.
Can I?
Yeah.
So was it Lori that was, from your understanding, was it Lori that was talking more about those things at this, or did you see or hear Chad saying the exact same things?
I didn't hear Chad say anything that weekend about that.
So it was mostly Lori
It was
that.
only Lori to me. It wasn't spoken like to the general population. It was, she pulled me aside and told me that.
So that went on the first time.
Mhm.
And then you said later on, zombies came into play.
Yep.
When was that?
Yeah.
I would say winter of 2020.
Oh,
Am I getting these dates right? 28 of the years right?
Lorenzo Snow is what I'll say.
'Cause I was
so winter of 2020 would be this last
Yeah,
summer.
so it was winter, so 2018, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, let me review
Yeah, no, you're
the
fine.
date line. So that means the Preparing of People Conference was 2018, November.
Okay.
And then I was
I'm gonna go pull that one.
back here in March 2019. That's how it went.
Okay.
I apologize.
No, you're
for messing
fine.
it up.
What did she say about zombies and how that worked?
Right. So I don't know if you believe in the Bible, but basically, from my understanding, is like Jesus Christ is number one.
I'm not sure what happened. She kicked her own self out again. I guess she'll be back. It's really strange the way we were talking about in the chat. Everybody's talking about how in the world can people believe these things. But if you're taught these things from very young, you would believe them. And also they're taught that that they're just learning the very edge of it, like they're only learning the milk when they're young. So they're always given that there is some deeper secrets or deeper knowledge that they could somehow gain if they search the right sources. And so while it seems foreign to anybody who's not been indoctrinated into something that can influence your mind to work about against what's best for you, it is hard to understand. And cognitive dissonance is the key to the whole thing, because when you learn something new that does not go with something you've known before, like this is an established fact, I know about it, this is what I know, and then somebody brings you something new, some new evidence, it hurts your head a little bit, makes your head spin a little bit, that like, I've got so much time invested in this whole thing over here, and you're telling me that with this one sentence or this one line of thought that I'm going to be giving all that up. And but it usually does not happen all at once. Usually a person will be hearing things that make their ears pop up a little bit. Well, I didn't know that. Well, that doesn't sound exactly right. But you would keep those things to yourself, because speaking out will get you in trouble. And so usually a person doesn't speak out until the list of things that troubled them gets pretty high. I wonder if Kresha lost power or something, because she's not come back. Oh, here she goes. Here she goes.
How long have I been out?
I've told my whole life story while you're gone. Not really.
Oh my God, like I was just.
But I talked about indoctrination and how it's possible for people to get indoctrinated to what seems so silly to others. Okay, now I'll leave and let you go back.
Thank you. I mean, I didn't even know I was not here. It was just like, and it said reload, and I was like, what?
What?
It's okay. The witches bewitching. Okay, bewitching. You get it? Okay. I don't know how long I've been gone, so. But she said something right here that irked me, of like usual. Whenever she says that, so you'll know to listen for it. Sarena says that, I've had my baptism of water, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then she said, Lori and them asked if I had a baptism of fire. And that was interesting, because I didn't know when I initially watched all these before. Again, every time I watched them, I learned so many things in between those times. that I can now put it into perspective with the knowledge I know now. And so the baptism of fire is feel the fire, just like Melanie Gibbs' book, you know, the one that they said is like $58. That's how much you can buy Melanie Gibbs' book for, according to Kat or Kit at Wordwise. I mean, that's interesting because that book is like a pamphlet, you know, not $58 worth. Please don't go buy it. You know, we'll figure out something. These people shouldn't be able to do this, in my opinion. But anyways, let me press play. I hope let me know if I need to back it up some
Can you
more.
walk us through on how those happen?
Yes.
Or how did she always direct them?
Yes.
Okay, can you walk us through on how those worked and happened?
Sure. So I was only there once in person because I was only there. So I've seen Lori 4 times ever.
Okay.
It was that Preparing People conference in November, and then in March when I came out for the girls' weekend. And then after I moved here, I saw her 2 other times. I saw her at a lunch. She was not even sitting by me, but she was
How many
a
Zooms?
few tables down. And then I saw her once at her house after that. She invited me over with a bunch of other women, and we just sat there and talked and ate. And I had questions for her about what had happened with her husband, because that's pretty mind blowing.
It's about to be here.
And so I've only seen her those 4 times. The weekend of March, when we were there for that girls' weekend, that was the first time we did. She explained the casting out things. And she asked us each to it's kind of like a.
And you can thank Melanie Gibb for this pre-planning she was able to do. Because Melanie Gibb, again, the one person who was like, the police were trying to call her. They were watching her house. They interviewed her son. And she says nothing except what she has to. She doesn't do that till what, December 6th, 2020. And then she is interviewed with the FBI, and there's different things going on. And then it's like she gets ahead of the whole media thing. And it's like a controlled takedown, a controlled distancing from Chad and Lori and their alleged, not alleged crimes, their crimes, because they're not alleged anymore. Kind of. It's it is very polarizing because it's a push-pull. It's a steady push-pull. Did I 100% believe it? Well, depends on who you ask. Depends on your view, you know? That's that Melanie thing, where it's so polarizing, and it's never standing on their own merit, their own word, their own account, She had to be filled in by the point person in Arizona, according to Jason Mao. Melanie Gibb. So thank you again, Melanie Gibb. You're just a friend that keeps on giving.
We got in a circle, and she asked each of us to be
Jesus.
part of that prayer or say something to help cast out. And so we each took a turn saying something sometimes calling on elements.
Bye, you animal.
We each have different gifts. Just like you're really good at basketball and you might be really good at hockey, right? The same thing applies spiritually too. We can have different spiritual gifts.
I don't know.
And so she asked, for me to be in charge of water and to use those elements and ask for water. And for me, that meant using water, calling down water. God used water to help form this world, and calling down that water and using water to help cleanse, because it's a very cleansing agent. There's a lot of power in water too. So
Running water.
I thought we were
Living
just casting out, getting rid of those zombies or evil spirits, the people who are possessed, so that we could cleanse them out. And
How'd that work for you?
Specialty, or her ask of me, was to use that water element.
Okay. When the first time you did it, who was that? Who were you doing a casting on?
She was in the literal circle.
Yeah.
So when you guys were in a circle, were you holding hands?
Thank
Were you just shoulder to shoulder?
I don't think we were holding hands. From my memory, I think we were
Shoulder to
I
shoulder.
can't remember if we were standing or sitting.
Thank
kind
you.
Of in casuals. I'm so sorry, I don't
You're
remember.
okay. And was Lori in that circle, or was she
Yes.
somewhere else?
No, she was there.
Do you remember who was there?
7 Gather?
Yes, I do. So Lori, and I don't remember the order, but
Just saying.
Lori was there, Zulema was there, Melanie Gibb was there, Christina was there, Nicole was there, and myself. And I
That's
think
6.
that's 6. Is that right? That sounds right to me.
And then just kind of walk us through what you would say. Like if it got to your turn,
Mhm.
what you would say
Oh,
to cast
God.
out these evil spirits.
Well, it's very similar to what we're taught in the Bible. So in the name of Jesus Christ, I ask for, and you can ask for things when you pray.
Light as a
ask
feather,
for
stiff
the
as a
element of
board.
water
I remember
to
that.
come,
Just saying.
water in the heavens above and the earth beneath. That's in the Exodus, to come and cleanse. That, and I can't remember, you asked who we specifically targeted. I know she was very concerned about her husband, Charles. Charles, is that his name?
Yep.
Charles, and that he was possessed. And I can't remember if it was that time or if it was later, but I think it might have been that time that we specifically talked about him. But her teaching to us was that even though he was possessed, it wasn't just a he problem. It was broader, way broader
World.
than that. It was
Like y'all are.
the earth, right? And cast
Oh my
out
God.
for the whole earth. So she specifically was worried about her husband. And I'm pretty sure at one point she was worried about her daughter, Tylee, too. And I can't remember if it was that moment or not. And I can't remember if she said it was dark or she was possessed, like her daughter. I think she said she was just dark.
I'm sure
But
she
her
said both.
husband was possessed, from my memory.
So on the first one you guys
Oh,
did was for
same.
Charles. That you can remember.
Charles, but I think it was broader than that. From my memory, it wasn't just him. It might have been just him.
Whoa, remember in the last interview, the audio where she said that she didn't come in until, but then she said she met Charles. So, okay, hold on. So I'm probably getting, it's the word salad that gets to me, y'all, because they go back and forth. But she said that she's met, like she was like, first I came in whenever it was like after his death, after the Charles thing, actually is what she said. And then, but then later she said something about being there around November, because I remember writing it down on a timeline. And then, okay, so now I wonder when this was. The casting out. Oh, I wasn't paying attention, I guess.
I think
Let me go back a little bit.
from my memory.
So on the first one you guys did was for Charles. That you can remember.
Charles, but I think it was broader than that. From my memory, it wasn't just him. It might have been just him.
Okay.
I think he was definitely part of it.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to remember if it was
When did
more
she say
than
that?
just him, too, because that was her intent, is that we cleanse
Everything. plus-
everything, right? And it was for her, it was like a state by state thing. So it was her husband
Steak
to
or steak?
practice on, but that we were just practicing because he was already possessed. And then it needed to be broader
But he
than
was
that.
dead.
It needed to be state by state and then cleanse the whole type thing. Yeah. We thought we were doing good. We really didn't think.
What do you think now?
Certainly didn't this was just a spiritual thing. This was nothing more than that. And we thought we were trying to help people and help cleanse the evil out of him. And
When,
She's worried.
when you guys were doing it and Lori started it off,
Where are you going?
did she start it off with a blessing? Or did she end it with a blessing? Or how did that start and end?
what do you mean blessing? Blessing each of us or blessing?
The casting or
Look how
whatever.
she's sitting.
Or did she just start off, okay, everyone get, let's get in our circle, you have this and this. And then did she start it off with what she thought and then it just went around? Or did she start off with the blessing and then she started and go around?
I'm not sure what you mean.
I guess
blessing.
like a priesthood blessing.
No, because that's usually a priesthood
It's
blessing
not
is
though.
bless somebody. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I've tracked it down.
Did she bless us to start that thing?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
I
it's
think
not.
she just started.
I wish it was.
How
Remember, I was only there once though, so I only did it
Yeah, I was
once,
just
and I'm
gonna
trying to
ask you that.
remember.
So you were there one time
Mhm.
physically.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any castings over the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that multiple castings or just a few?
I think it was just one other.
Okay.
And then I was
who
kicked
that
out.
on?
You know that, right?
Yeah, and we'll get to that.
He was super worried.
Thank heaven.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest blessing.
No kidding. Amen. Seriously.
Who is your, the casting over the phone?
That was general. That
Okay,
was
no
like-
specific.
That was like a state
You
thing.
just said all the other ones
You
were
know who was
general.
on the
So who
phone
was
after
it?
that?
Oh,
Everybody
sorry.
that I mentioned already, plus I think Molly Boudreaux was there,
Okay. Um,
who I had never met until I moved here, and I only met her once briefly.
Thank you, Lori.
okay.
Lori in Texas.
So
Good
you just
Lori.
did the two.
Thank you.
castings.
Two, there might have been a third, I'm trying to remember, but yeah. Two for sure that I remember, I'm trying to remember if there was a third over the phone.
Okay.
There was one time I talked to them on the phone, but I had been up for 24 hours in Connecticut dealing with some house problems. And I remember
Adderall
sitting there
much?
and falling asleep, so I can't remember like what happened exactly on that phone call. Because I was 3 hours ahead of them too.
Yeah. No, that's all
And I
right.
hadn't slept, so I'm trying to remember, I don't think I said anything, I think I just listened.
Witching hour.
I'm not sure what exactly was said at that time.
So
Oh
let's
my
go
God.
back to,
I
I
need a
didn't
mute.
participate in that one if it was, so I think I just sat there and listened and fell
Listen.
asleep.
you said Lori mentioned her daughter Tylee was, either dark or a zombie.
How does that make you
Is
feel?
that the only time you ever heard Lori mention that about Tylee? Or was
No,
there other
no.
times?
How many times do y'all
What
need?
did you bring up with that? Or what do you recall her
I'm going
saying about Tylee
Yeah.
in any of that content?
Most of my conversations with Lori, some of them were over the phone, and then but we didn't talk often either, only a few times. It was just that, and then that weekend, her daughter's dark, and part of that's because of the abuse she suffered.
So
But
because
that
she was
it
a victim,
hard
she became a
because
more
she was
victim?
constant-
Hold on. Sorry, I'm
And
talking.
she didn't use this for
Because that
anything.
doesn't make any damn sense. So because of all her S abuse, she was dark. Think. Think, people. Think. And I mean people like-minded people right here.
But we didn't
And
talk
cops.
often either, only a few times. It was
Distance,
just that,
distance.
and then that weekend, her daughter's dark, and part of that's because of the abuse she suffered. But that it was hard because
That's
she was
nuts.
constant. And she didn't use this word, I'm trying to interpret with my own words, but like a flag or disruptor maybe to like Lori's mission. So she talked about
Flag
that,
or
like how
disruptor.
like Tylee was trying to distract her, and it was just
Oh my
hard for her to
God.
make it was so dark. And,
Okay. And this might be hard.
Sorry, I'm gonna back it up again because I mean that was just horrible. What she just said was so horrible and so dehumanizing to Tylee, a child. I wonder how many kids she has. What, 12? I mean, oh my God. So I wonder if Sarena and Christina and Nicole and the rest of the Kool-Aid in the gang, I wonder how they would feel if we joined in a circle, shoulder to shoulder or not, we don't know. And we just doing what they're doing. And how would they like this to be done to them is what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. Okay. Okay. Then but we didn't talk often either, only a few times. Weekend, her daughter's dark because of the abuse she suffered, but that was hard because she was a constant, whatever to interpret with my own words, but like a flag or distraction to Lori's mission. So she talked about that, how Tylee was trying to distract her and was so dark, who was so, I don't know. Let me back it up though. I was just trying to read it.
Or was
no,
there other
multiple
times?
times.
What did she bring up with that? Or what do you recall her saying about Tylee
Yeah.
in any of that content?
Most of my conversations with Lori, some of them were over the phone, and then but we didn't talk often either, only a few times. It was just that, and then that weekend, her daughter's dark, and part of that's because of the abuse she suffered. But that it was hard because she was a constant, and she didn't use this word, I'm trying to interpret with my own words, but like flag or disruptor maybe to like Lori's mission. So she talked about that, like how like Tylee was trying to distract her, and it was just hard living with somebody who was so dark. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
And this might be hard to remember.
It was
but
hard
when
living.
Was the
Huh.
first time she brought that up about Tylee? Was it before March 2019?
No, I'm trying to remember. I don't think she mentioned anything like that because we had that first weekend for preparing of people when I was here.
Mhm.
That didn't come up at all. Like that wasn't part of it.
She just swallowed hard.
So I'm
Let
trying
me
to
catch that
remember.
again.
Like, was
Sorry.
there something between, like that first weekend for
What?
preparing of people when I was here.
Mhm.
That didn't come up at
Right
all.
there.
Like that wasn't part of it. So I'm trying to remember. Like, was it sometime between then or March when I was here? It
Mm-mm.
must have been some. I'm guessing sometime between then over
Between,
the phone
okay,
before
you came in March.
I came in March.
Okay.
I'm not positive on that.
And you're up.
It
We
could be
know.
March.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is
Did
it?
she ever mention anything about JJ being dark,
Nothing.
evil?
Nope.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
so-
because
Not to me.
he's an actual child. Like they're children.
So explain to us why you got kicked out.
I got kicked out because I asked too many questions.
What kind of questions were you asking?
A lot. I'm a seeker. I love to like research and like dive deep into different things. And so I was asking questions about things that just didn't make sense. So that whole zombie thing, like I know casting out is a thing. Like that's in the Bible.
I'd say more. I do these to refresh myself because it's so hard, at least in my experience, to. I didn't like the fact that they were even separated. It's like fight for justice for Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. No Charles. But then, and because they're one's in Idaho and one's in freaking Arizona, it's like it's so hard to do them separately like this. But then so there's a lot of things that I blocked out or there's too much to cram. So to me, it gives me insight. It reminds me of who said what, when, where, who was associated with who. This time around, I'm picking up on nonprofit organizations that, Huggy Bear found out last time we went live that the Gathering Humanity nonprofit organization that highlighted Nicole Earle and Christina Atwood, two of the other 7 gatherers that we went over last time, and how they made over $600,000 in nonprofit monies, tax-free money. And it's interesting how, now I know more about the infrastructure and the associations. Like it seems to be like just a whole bunch of proselytizing and monetizing through. It's like the church might have been pushing. I don't know. I don't have that proof, but I'm just saying this is what it looks like. It's like they changed their way of advertising. And I mean, M. Russell Ballard was like the brand, like he was over like the hype, like getting people interested in and becoming members of the church. And so it seems like there is this wall or the surge of these people, of like-minded people, we'll say, who started nonprofit organizations, who were kind of working in this network, who were harming children and casting out and having demonic, just all these weird things like the Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Frankie thing. David Hamlin, they've been happening since long time ago, but mainly made their debut in the late 80s, early 90s when the Glenn Pace memo came out. And I believe the 800 Satanists that Bishop Glenn L. Pace, he just kind of was like, okay, he, what am I trying to find? Not summarize, but he hypothesized, I guess, that there were about 800 practicing Satanists within the LDS Church on the Wasatch Front. And that is exactly where this, in my opinion, is stemming from. They use these extra doctrines, or these fringe doctrines, we'll say. And then they do what, and they all believe in past lives. David Hamblin believes I can't remember exactly who he was in his past lives. But you have Jody and Ruby, who are also believing that they're somebody in past lives. They got Ruby putting a plastic bag over her son's head and then pushing his head underwater, which I believe if you think about it, that's how JJ, my nephew, was found, with a bag over his head. And so, there's just so many correlations that I've found by researching further into these things, these groups who I believe are being orchestrated, or they're orchestrating and they network together and they boast each other up and they help give each other credibility. The church is even at times, and not just these people, but recommending their own members from their stakes and wards to these Jody Hildebrands and the David Hamblins, and they're getting just riddled and whatever by it's just horrendous. So it's like, what's really going on here? It begs so many questions, I think. But that's my purpose, is just to refresh and to hang out with you guys too, and just kind of talk about it. So I'm so glad y'all are here. And so let's continue to listen to Miss Sarena.
I'm a seeker. I love to research and dive deep into different things. And so I was asking questions about things that just didn't make sense. So that whole zombie thing, I know casting out is a thing. That's in the Bible. The whole zombie in a circle thing, I wasn't exactly comfortable with it, but I kind of put it on the shelf because I could see how she maybe connected different parts of the Bible as far as casting
Thank
out
you.
and other parts. So I kind of put it on the shelf, but I did ask some questions. I know I asked a lot of questions when she started getting into who's light, who's dark, what their probation is, when she was assigning different levels to people. And I know she was
So you
getting a
probably
lot of
saw
that
when Tylee was
information
dark.
from Chad as well. And so I started asking both of them questions when things didn't make sense to me and it didn't feel right. That's when I ask questions because I want to know. They didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that I was asking, well, what about so-and-so? Because they were telling me numbers from my own family. This doesn't make sense. I don't understand this. They didn't like that. And I know another subject was when she was talking about, there's no need for repentance. That's
because she was exalted, and you would have known that
so
because.
I pushed back on that one. That was another one.
Why did she?
And that's why she asked you if you had been baptized, and if you had been baptized by fire, Sarena. So
Say that.
She said she found it in the Bible. And she said, we don't need to repent anymore. We've come to that stage where.
When she says we, was she talking about her and Chad or all you guys?
She was trying to get us all to believe that.
Okay. But at that time, she believed that she did not need to repent. Did she just think she was, what's the word I'm trying to think of?
Translated?
Yeah.
Yep. That happens a lot too.
She owns Visions of Glory, y'all know it.
Or in process, I should say. She didn't think I was translated, but in process.
Melanie Gibb was also in process, so was Julie Rowe.
So you, in your report,
For sure, I hope.
we were just looking over it. She don't want to repent, and that's kind of when they pushed you away, and she said.
Well, that's part of it. She also thought, so I had some dreams. I dream.
You dream, girl?
They're predictive too.
And
And that's the case. It's not all the time, but I have dreams. And I had shared one of those dreams with Chad, and it actually was happening at that time.
And that's why you're not in a group.
And then has come true in multiple ways since then.
Like what?
And so they said at that time too that I got really sick. And I'm not usually sick ever.
Because
very,
you're not
very
supposed to
rarely.
be a
And
visionary.
she said, she and Chad said that I had been like, I'm trying to remember the word, not infected, but that I had been breached, that there was a hole in me, that Julie Rowe was attacking
Compromised.
me, and I was being indoctrinated at night, and I was no longer trustworthy. And,
Okay.
that I was.
What I've just learned, and I mean, I watch all kinds of things, so just know that. But I think it was somebody who was on a channel, it's called Holy Heartbeat. And they were talking about how they have like these same kind of things. She's talking about dreams, predictive dreams, or near death experience type. They have different kinds of things on there. And so I listen to them so I can work while I listen. And they say, and I mean, I've heard this before, but I mean, I do believe that they are practicing witches, and so does Julie Rowe. I think she is too. But I think in this program they said something about how witches will astral travel at night and they will like mess with you. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is freaking whack. Oh, and they also said, yeah, this is what made me laugh. I was like, no freaking way. Did y'all know? Oh, where's my phone? I'm looking for it. Okay. They said that toilet bowls were portals, and I about fell out. I think I text that to my group chat with my mods this morning, and I was like, "Well, we've made a full circle." You know, is that why Chad was in the bathroom? Is that why Tom Harrison was in the bathroom all the time? Is this why, the make a portal in the closet in the bathroom? I mean, what the hell's going on here? And they said that they would invoke, not Lori and them. I'm sure that's what they were doing, but I'm saying that. Oh, and then Alex delivered porta potties. If you think about it, oh my God, oh my God, they're insane. They make my brain hurt. But like, they could invoke whatever through the toilet, and I was like, holy shit, shitting in closets. I'm sorry, I just had that weird laugh. But I mean, it was funny this morning, right? That was crazy. I was like, "Oh, hell no." Right? If the shit fits, we must have quit. That's awesome, Moonlight View. If the shit they get a shit fit, right? Oh my God. Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's that. I mean, whether it's true or not, I don't know. I'm just telling you the folklore that I hear. Crazy. But is that why they were going to the bathroom all the time?
Whatever word they used, they didn't say this directly to me. I just knew, like you could tell when somebody flips and changes, but she did tell me that I had been over the phone, that I had been breached and indoctrinated at night. They were doing ritualistic abuse of me while I was sleeping.
Do you think they ever did any castings on you?
Yeah, they must have.
Remember when they hovered Charles's vehicle?
So that
Literally?
was soon after March. That was either April or May that all happened.
Did Zulema ever talk to you and try and help you out or help you through the time or try and see something different?
I don't think
I guess Lori made the comment that Zulema will help you through this.
Absolutely.
She did. Yep. So Zulema and I were pretty close, and she kind of was assigned to kind of take care of me, take care of the problem, but it was, I believe,
Assigned.
she believed Lori and Chad 100% at that time, and was
The
handling me,
percentages
but
blow my mind, y'all.
wasn't trying to ask or find anything other than what they were saying. So, because our relationship didn't last much longer than that.
Oh,
Um,
you just made me
how
think.
often did you talk to Chad?
You just made me think of how Ruby Frankie wouldn't let her kids use her bidet. Okay, little Brands, you just brought that up for me. Is that because she was like trying to hog the portal? Oh man, so many questions.
Like over the phone?
Or in person?
I saw him twice ever. So, and you could say that's 3 times, but so 2 trips, the Preparing Your People conference here, and then I went to the Preparing people conference
Oh,
up
wow.
in Idaho as well.
Is that in Boise?
And part of that trip for me, that's why I count it as one trip, but you can count it as 2 times because I saw him at that conference and then I went over to Rexford. We were investigating places to move. I knew I needed to move, that we were supposed to move. And I was trying to
It's a
figure out where in
phenomenon.
Rexford was a place that my husband loved and he found a house. So we were checking out Rexford. And so I did
Well,
meet
yeah.
Chad once there as well. So 3 times in person.
Chad wants there.
Ever talk to him on the phone or text?
Yes, texted, we emailed a few times.
What?
texted.
What?
We
You're
might
gonna
have
have to
texted,
tell
I'm
me.
sure we probably
Okay, I'm about tired of hitting that damn folder. Okay. You're gonna have to tell me where. Wait, what? New dream? No way. Okay. Did she just say something like that? Let me see. Are you talking about like a while back, just a little bit ago, right before there was a hole in me, a hole in your brain? Okay, hold on. Is it before here? I'm reading the comment thing.
directly to me. I just knew.
Let me know.
Like you could tell when somebody
Yeah.
flips and changes, but she did tell me that I had been, like over the phone, that I had been breached and indoctrinated at night. They were doing
way
ritualistic
back.
abuse of me while I was sleeping.
Ritualistic abuse. Boom. Okay.
Do you think they ever did any castings on you?
Yeah, they must have. That's my guess.
Oh, I never seen Harry Potter, so
Yeah.
see.
That was soon after March. That was either.
Oh my
April or May.
gosh.
Did Zulema ever talk to you and try and help you
Wow.
out or help you through the time or try and see something different?
I don't think
I guess
so.
Lori made the comment that Zulema will help you through this tough time.
She did. Yep. So Zulema and I were pretty close, and she kind of was assigned to kind of take care of me, take care of the problem, but it was, I believe she
Assigned.
Lori and Chad 100% at that time,
Hmm.
and was handling me, but wasn't trying to ask or find anything other than what they were saying. So, because our relationship didn't last much longer than that.
How often did you talk to Chad
Like over the phone?
or in person?
I saw him twice ever. So, and you could say
Oh
that's 3
God.
times, but
Y'all be
there's
easy
2
on Joe.
trips, the Preparing the People conference here, and then I went to the Preparing the People conference up in Idaho as well.
Where your sister lives?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And part of that trip for me, that's why I count it as one trip, but you can count
Sounded
it as 2
like
trips,
it.
but I saw him at that conference and then I went over to Rexford. We were investigating places to move. I knew I needed to move, that we were supposed to move. And I was trying to figure out where in Rexford was a place that my husband loved and he found a house. So we were checking out Rexford. And so I did meet Chad once there as well. So 3 times in person.
I didn't hear this. I mean, I heard her talk about dreaming.
Yes, texted, we emailed a
Whoa,
few times.
there goes my freaking.
Texted. We might
Yeah,
have
my
texted. I'm
computer's
sure we
on
probably
the glitch.
did a couple times, but not often. I'm trying to remember if I talked to him on the phone. If I did, it was very few times.
Anything important on those texts that?
I'm gonna go pull up the
maybe weren't
transcript on
obvious?
another screen.
The text, I'm not sure I ever texted him,
Okay.
so I guess I can't check.
Hold that
But I
thought.
can check on that if you want me to. I'm not sure I ever texted him, but I could have. I remember the emails and I remember the in-person stuff. I might have talked to him on the phone once or twice.
Okay, we got to clear this up because look, as a kid growing up, I used to be one of those kids that used to think that snakes would come up through the toilet. And I'm probably about to give somebody else a new fear, but and like, you'd be doing, I was a little kid, and I was just like, oh my God, it's gonna come up and bite me in the butt. Or the drains when when your bathtub is draining, and I was out of there. I was like, no, thank you. Do not want to be around the drain. If anybody else like that? Or is it just me and some paranoia or something? It's like, I don't know, something scared me. Interesting though. The whole point, I just thought that was so random to hear that about the toilets being a portal, but to hear like Megan bring up the Harry Potter thing, I have never watched Harry Potter. So, and we know that Chad, felt like a character on there, I think. So, and we know that their doctrine that I actually went over it just the other day. Myself, I didn't share it, but I went over their whole belief system, where they say that if you can imagine it, then it's real. So, I mean, it kind of checks all the little boxes.
And there might be some text, but I don't
Where
know.
are we going along? Sharks.
And
I was
since
terrified of sharks.
Lori pushed you out in March, have you had any contact with her or chat?
Yeah.
Twice after. So after I moved, yeah, because I had seen her twice before, remember November and March, and then she kicked me out. I ended up moving here, much to my chagrin. I did not want to move here because she was here, but this was the right place. We were supposed to be here, like no doubt at all. 100% we're supposed to be here, but it was really hard to go here because she and everybody,
Long story.
like Zulema, who I had been really close to, like weren't talking to me.
So
And I
close. What is
wasn't part of that group anymore. But once I moved here, Zulema, I think it was Zulema, set up like a welcome lunch or whatever at
I don't
not
understand.
Cafe Rio, what's the other
These
one? Costa Vida.
Okay. Okay, just like I've heard so many people say, "Oh yeah, Lori moved around a lot. She moved. She moved to Hawaii, she moved to Texas." And I'm like, "That she didn't move. She was just like moving around. She was like a gypsy. She was like my ex-mother-in-law used to say flying pillow to post. I mean, she was just procuring things. She was just setting things. She was conspiring, in my opinion. And so I look at that differently, just like right here and all the other ladies involved in this, they all are like, "Oh yeah, for such a long time, but when y'all meet? Oh, yesterday." But we're such good friends. What is that? Okay, that's something that has not been addressed. Megan, you might have a new content idea. But I mean, like, what is this? I know we do the brother sister thing. So, it's like that in the church. I understand, but I don't understand this like they've known each other forever. But they go like 0 to 100, or let's say 0 to 144,000 real quick. It's weird. It's different. Let me just say it's different.
So we were there and had lunch. It was really bizarre.
Who was all there at that?
Lori and her brother, Zulema, Melanie, Boudreaux.
I love dolls and clowns.
And basically it was Nicole and I sat and talked, and everybody else was.
Oh my God, my
outside, but
camera's
Was
flickering.
that the first time you ever met Alex?
bizarre. No, I met him at Preparing of People the first time in Gilbert.
Okay.
So he came, he didn't stay at the house, but he came
Yeah, me too.
at least once. I remember him being there once.
Did you ever talk to him?
Not really, besides like a conversation. He was in the kitchen. I remember him in the kitchen at Lori's house when I was here for that Preparing of People conference. And there's a lot of other people there too, and I definitely talked to
Yeah,
him
that.
Just general talk?
like
or was
general,
there-
yeah, everybody, nothing alone, yeah.
Or their past lives, Megan. It's more like it.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Sure.
Y'all think
So
y'all
I'm
think
gonna-
you believe in
we're gonna go
multiple
back
mortal
just a little bit.
probations?
So really quick, so back to the casting, just to confirm, did you ever cast out for Tylee?
I don't think I ever did.
Mm-mm.
Did Lori ever say that
Didn't she
she
say
did?
that earlier?
I think I was kicked out before she turned zombie, but I'm kind of
What?
unclear on the whole Tylee, like if I was there, so I don't know definitive.
Did you ever cast out for Tylee?
I don't think I ever did.
Did Lori ever say that she did?
I think I was kicked out before she turned zombie, but I'm kind of unclear.
Where the hell
on
did she
the
get
whole
that?
Tylee, like if I was there, So I don't know definitively if I participated in that or not. Charles, I remember.
The kids are missing. This is April 28th, 2021. Read it at the bottom. And she's like, she's a zombie. I got kicked out before then though, so I'm not, I'm not connected. You can't charge me, and I'm going to do everything I can to drive that point. But all the while, I know that she is a zombie, and they're not even found yet. So it's not like that's, And earlier in that other interview, was it where she said that, Charles, her husband was dead. In her mind, basically, he was dark, so he was dead, and so her kids, they weren't her kids anymore. That wasn't her husband anymore. Those weren't her kids anymore. She knows more, in my opinion, and she's just never forthright.
Tylee, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
Okay.
And then with Charles,
Okay.
what was your understanding when somebody is possessed? What needed to happen in order for them to either progress or to be cured? What was your understanding?
Well, the way Lori explained it is that, and I'm gonna get these numbers wrong. I'm not a super detailed memory person, if you can't tell. But she explained it something like the effect of when we're born, our spirits are tied to our bodies approximately, I want to say 3,000 strings or attachments or something like that. And that's where, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it's around 3,000. And as we go through life, or we near death, as we get older, those strings and bonds,
Well, here, let me make you near death.
in different ways, I don't know, an injury or whatever, however they break, I don't know. Or attachments, whatever she called them. And so what happens, from my understanding of what she said, is that when somebody like Charles, I think, was in a car accident or something, you can invite evil in, something like that happens, and those evil spirits can kind of take over and create take over those attachments and take over those, and maybe even build their own. I'm kind of unclear on that.
What?
Basically, so us, when we're casting out, we cast out that evil spirit, but what we're doing, in essence, is severing those life bonds to the body so that the body can be released, the spirit can be released, and then the spirit goes on and does whatever they do next.
Which is what?
Yeah, so when you say
I
the
mean,
body
that's
can be
not much
released,
sense of what craziness is, yeah.
yeah, and it is a little crazy, this whole Alaska thing.
Little.
But that's a different story. So when the body can,
Yeah, for me too. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's horrifying what has happened.
and
I
it's
gotta
good that
read
you
this,
got to
y'all.
find out.
I know.
I really do. I want to read this to you guys because this is from the LDS Church of Satan. So, how do I make this larger? Anyways, I'm trying. Okay. I was born in redacted. I was named redacted. Blank gave me the middle names, whatever. Okay. I'm not really going for names or anything. Okay. I was taught my redacted signified that I was redacted and their property eternally. They taught me that I had been chosen before birth to be the peacemaker before birth. Let me make sure I'm not muted. Okay. No. Okay. And then it says, I had also been chosen as blank, told me to become blank's second wife and to bear his children. Blank were, and to the best of my knowledge, remain members of the Church of Satan, or CS, LDS Church of Satan, a group / church / cult that worships Lucifer / Satan. They try to hide our membership in this group from the public eye. For this reason, we publicly belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Although we were not always, quote unquote, active members, nor was Lori, nor was Melanie. Redacted worked as a clinical psychologist, and Redacted, her mother, a homemaker who saw that Redacted and I were trained in certain subjects / ways that supported our quote unquote duties in our home and the Church of Satan. So it says, for church, we attended the LDS church throughout my life. Although we often were, quote, less active, sometimes barely active, I attended primary and less of young women's, but at times stayed home sick. Tylee was always sick. At times, I was legitimately sick, especially with the germs and close contact to adults I was exposed to in our private life. However, other times when Redacted told people we were sick on Sundays, Redacted and I were being forced to, quote, entertain suitors/clients as prostitutes. Some of these higher paying clients would stay for a full weekend. At home, Redacted used LDS primary songs, hymns, art, and other materials when they tortured and terrorized us. This created deep-seated feelings of dread and distrust when attending LDS meetings or events. And I mean, it goes on and on and on. But I mean, you learn so much just from Redacted opened my door abruptly and walked into my room. I'm not going to say anything that's horrible. I'll try not to. I was trying to do homework at my secretary desk and singing Will Bring the World His Truth, an LDS primary song that I loved. I immediately stopped singing. Redacted smiled at catching me. That night at dinner, she told Redacted that I wanted to be in Jehovah's army and not Lucifer's. She said she could clearly read my intentions and that I needed to be punished. After dinner, okay, we're not going to say all this. Yeah, we're not going to say all that. But yeah. Another night during 4th grade Provo, they had a ORGY where in the beginning they made us sing As I Have Loved You from the LDS primary songbook and they had a touch party. When I was a junior primary, Redacted focused on the younger primary songs, especially the ones with actions. She would have us learn different actions where we tickled or touched, blah, blah, blah. Popcorn popping. I'm just kind of skipping around. Okay, right here. She also loved to talk about Redacted's superiority. This is her dad. This is Hamblin, David. So Rosie also loved to talk about David's superiority, allegedly, and the importance of Redacted, and make us sing the genealogy songs, including Genealogy, I Am Doing It, and Truth from Elijah. She often had us sing. She also had us sing them other primary songs while she ordered us to massage her body with lotion and oral. Okay. And then, I mean, it goes on to, they held what they held what they called Redacted, an LDS practice of setting a night or nights aside for spiritual instruction and Redacted and bonding. However, our Redacted activities included photo shoots, rehearsals, and practice sessions for Redacted's child pornography and prostitution. Okay. Business. Similar preparation. Okay. And if you think about Jody Hildebrandt and Jesse, and you think about how Jody was like showing her work off, meaning Jesse, and the obedience she was trying to instill in Jesse, just like with Ruby Frankie and Chad, their son, and R. Frankie and E. Frankie. They were breaking those kids. They were training those kids so that they would submit. They were breaking their spirits. Okay. And so I believe that's what hooked Jody and Ruby up. I think that's what sent Ruby. Some of these parents, that's what they're doing, especially if they're within the Church of Satan, the LDS Church of Satan, family bloodlines. You know, there's certain bloodlines that have been doing this for generations. And so generationally, this is what they're taught. And so then they do that to their kids, and then they do that to their kids. And this is another way that this has infiltrated, third and fourth generations, if you want to say, our posterity. So, anyways, it thrives in this. It's a hotbed for this, and it's so secretive. It's so convoluted, and it's like smoke and mirrors because these people are never held accountable because they are gaslighters. They deny everything. You get what we're seeing now. We're seeing the front lines of Melanie Gibb Serena, Christina, Nicole, all of these women, these people are what make up this system, in my opinion. So, and I mean, I've been working on this for quite some time, and I of course don't have it ready right now, so it's not like I can just spill it to you in one spot. But I mean, this is what's going on. 800 or so, that was an estimation by Bishop Glenn L. Pace, who was a general authority at the time, and he was tasked to do this by the leadership. He was tasked to go and interview alleged victims of satanic ritual abuse, and so he did, and he had to pace himself, and because there were so many people, he said he could have seen 180 people coming forward, but at the time, so he only did like 60 interviews, and they all said the same thing. I mean, so something's gone awry here, and it continues to go awry, and I don't want to be part of that problem. I just want to be part of the solution somewhere. I definitely don't want to be ignorant to it. I believe this is exactly what the hell was happening. I think this is what happened to Tylee and JJ for sure. And there's always a ring, there's always a circle, so to speak. So similar preparation for upcoming live performances and lecture on Church of Satan doctrine, nearly always ending with us being, and tortured or forced to give, okay. She says that, we lived in Provo. We regularly did some of these redacted in the company of their family and others, okay? Allegedly. The Punisher, we're not going to talk about him because he's looking. Other spiritual guidance. Redacted took us to see seers, astrologers, fortune tellers, etc. We went several times to Jan Carpenter in Salt Lake City, a woman who does future readings. Redacted also sent me a taped reading from Jan when I was living in Redacted. Redacted took me to a fortune teller by the side of the road in Fountain Green and had her read my palm and do other things. Redacted has told me several times that she rang up a huge bill with the Jamaican TV 1-800 fortune teller lady, Miss Cleo. I never saw this in here. Okay, Miss Cleo. During her parents' divorce trial, I guess. We also received extensive charts and readings from an astrologer client. Remember when Chad was Googling their signs and stuff? I know that's not extensive like this, but I'm just saying they're so lost. They are so misguided. No wonder they act like we are persecuting them because they think that they're choosing the right. When all the while, I mean, right's not even an option. They don't even know of its existence. So the God they know, the Jesus that they worship, is one that chases them all their lives. Satan's been after Lori her entire life. He hates her. That, in my opinion, has been flipped around on its head. And this is the product of this. Like they say Jesus, they say the same things that most of us here believe, or, when you do think of Jesus, if you're not religious, then you think of good, that's what I would equate it to. But no, not here. They do, but it's not because of the way they do the manipulation and how they're there's allegations of them actually burying children, okay? And then right before, right at the brink of death, they rescue them, but only, the whole time they're saying, pray to Jesus, he'll come save you. And then Jesus doesn't come to save them. And then right on the brink of death, they rescue the children from the grave or from the terrorizing situation, maybe from underwater with a bag over their head. And then it's Satan, somebody representing Satan. And so Satan becomes the savior. And you have like this whole Stockholm syndrome type of, it's very warped and it's very, if you didn't peer into it, then I mean, I understand why people don't understand. I totally get that. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know. The Hamlet case triggers me too. It triggers a lot of people. He did CSA. There's a lot of this kind of stuff, and it's not just in the LDS church. So, but I mean, in this story, it is at the dead center of it. So, yeah, yes, and so it's not it's a slippery slope because of all of the other indoctrination that goes into it. That's so interesting. Yeah, yeah, I've thought the same thing, Lamisa. I just haven't, been able to talk to him about that yet. I mean, but I have questions that would really help. And I mean, think about that picture and I mean, there's a picture with Janice Barry and Tylee, and it's just so, I don't know. I'm not the only one that has noticed this picture and how it's just creepy looking. I think she was dressed, she had like little bees on, like a headband or something. Maybe it was Halloween. I don't know. But something's gone awry. So it's like, what is it? Okay. So the end result here is murdered people that they allegedly loved. But when you are flipped on the end, you're totally warped. But then I'm like, Megan, how would Megan have grown up so differently than Lori? And then it's so not noticeable though. It's not noticeable until you're doing what we're doing and you're analyzing everything that they're saying, comparing it to other things that other people practicing the same kind of things are doing. And then you're like, what's okay? This is what's going on here. It's the most logical thing to me because it predates Lori and Chad. It's their common belief of the church. Their common, they profess being loving their saints. And thank God. For real. Thank God. Girl. It's so bizarre. It's sad too, It really is sad because it's like these children who turn into Chads and turn into Loris and Jodys and Rubies, all these people, and they're so backwards. Like they don't know right from wrong, left or right, up or down, good or bad, dark or light. And it's troubling, and it's just troubling everywhere. And yes, that's why I want to go over Stacy so bad. I didn't know much about eating disorders. I still really don't. But I mean, learning more about SRA and and I think, oh my God, y'all, I think that oh, I have chills. I think that Tylee with her pancreatitis, it's like the sugars, right? I'm not an expert, but like the sugars are breaking down. And so a lot of people in SRA maybe have I don't know how to say it, paresis or something. And so, you know what I'm saying? Like where the sugar stopped. And so think about Stacy, where she was a type 1. So is Adam. And then Joe Ryan was so pissed off at Lori because she kept on with the processed foods and the sugar and all the things that are creating this problem. And she stayed home sick a lot. And I feel like this is it, y'all. I wouldn't be circling the damn train. Gastroparesis. That's just one. There's constipation. There's, children will have redness in their genitalia and stuff. Urinary tract infections, wetting the bed. These are all signs. Or JJ, I mean, I know he was he was on the spectrum, but he also, I think she like, and that makes me wonder why he was in a diaper. Was it this going on? I want to know. I mean, and then looking at the adopted angle of this, adopted children, they're kind of used for this kind of stuff. A lot of these, like the Osmonds, there's a lot of adopted children in this. I'm not saying everybody, please don't come at me. I'm just trying to figure this out. And I'm just at the very beginning. Hey, Salty Sleuth, how are you? It's crazy. And no, thank you. I appreciate that. And begin those too. I mean, it's like we're on the battleground. We're like, I don't know. We're warriors without a savior complex. How about that? It's interesting. And I mean, so maybe that's something we should go over soon is I mean, that's really why I want to get into Stacy and just really have a good long discussion about it. Just, I think Megan said she was up for it. So just me, Megan, and just go over those documents about all the things that Steve and the caregiver lady were going over. Melanie Pulowski she was like cutting her hair and wanted to be a boy, and she had different names, and it all fits. It all fits the criteria of it. And it explains so many things. It for me, it does. I don't have to like justify why this or that when it's just this is why, because it's been turned upside down from jump. And I mean, I can see Barry and Janice. And because and so it must be generational. Did their parents do that to them? Did, what's going on here? And then how do we, and I mean, I'm not here to push blame on anybody. I just want to know where it came from. I just want to track it down. Donna says jaundice, pain in the abdomen. Thank you. A lot of, and eating disorders. Yes. Yeah. It's sad. Yeah. She used to freak me the hell out. My Aunt Susan, y'all. So see, we are traumatized because like my Aunt Susan, when I was like 5 or 6 years old, poltergeist time frame. And she would like sit in front of the TV, and say, "They're here." I'd have to do that. Yeah, and she'd be like, "Oh my God." Anyway, so there we go. It's like generational. It's a lot of things we don't even realize that we're doing. It's like it, and I'm like, through reading the Hamblin case, I'm like, ooh, it's a little freaky. 'Cause I'm like, oh no, please don't let me have some repressed dream or something. I mean, memory. I agree about Melanie returning from her time with the Coxes wanting to be a boy with baseball cap, etc. I want to be called Alex and some other name. Jean's mother was a first-generation Mormon. She joined the church when the kids were in their early teen years. I remember hearing that from you. That was the cool grandma though, right? Like, but I have pictures of them doing this. Colby, Zach, Lori, and the grandma. And I'm just like, this does not mean I love you. It can, not in this context though. It does not. And it's not even, I don't think it's like on purpose. That's another part of my, this mystery is like, is this on, or do they believe what they are teaching? Or, or is this just so they can manipulate people? And I really do think that they believe it. It's just backwards. It's like playing an Ozzy Osbourne record backwards. It's like if you think Aleister Crowley, he trained himself to talk backwards to do everything backwards. And that's why I think that's why I have such a hard time reading their stuff. I'm just like, it doesn't make sense, I'm just like, that's not normal, you know? Oh, so I was like, "Oh, yeah, what about the rich uncle?" Or whatever that was, we heard that from, what's his face? Your cousin, Braxton. Sorry. Braxton said they were talking about Big Daddy and it might be who you're talking about because it is in Texas. And you said Longhorn fan, so, oh my bejesus, right? Well, I'm from the New Orleans Saints. Does that make me a saint? About as much as it does the church, huh? It's all horrible. I'm just saying. Holy crap, y'all. I mean, it's all around us. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this my whole life, and burying your children's umbilical cords in your yard for long posterity or long life or whatever. It took me forever to do that because I never did have roots, so I was like, I'm not just gonna plant their umbilical cords wherever. And so I'm thinking that was probably some damn witchcraft, y'all. Straight up. I haven't even looked, but it just sounds like it. And I mean, okay, practice what you practice. I'm talking about the kind that murdered my family. That's the kind. So if you align with that, then yes, I'm talking about you. If you don't align with that, then nothing to see here, A different uncle. Yeah, to bond her out. And I was like, ooh, about them people with that with money. Okay. They tend to dado. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Joe Schmo I didn't play Stairway to Heaven backwards. And I didn't play Stairway to Heaven backwards until I was a grown adult with kids. Oh my gosh. You threw yours in the trash? Y'all, I remember trying a Ouija board when I was like 11 with my my little neighborhood friends. And my Uncle Larry had died when I was 8. So 3 years before that. And so anyways, it answered something like we asked where he was and he said in the lights. And I was like, I'm done. I was done. I'm just saying, we used to do light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather. I mean, come on, y'all. We have done this stuff, especially if you grew up in my time frame. I was born in late 78 and I was, the 80s. I was a younger teenager in the 90s, almost pretty much. And then it's just, there's a lot of things that we do. She says, I did. Thank God they didn't. Who? Thank God they didn't think about Ned. They did. Depends. But doesn't it sound like The Craft? And it sounds like Harry Potter, like I'll say. It's like just grab from everywhere. We've said that, but that's something that people have said about Joseph Smith. That's things that people have said about a lot of, I'm not even trying to start a riot, but Catholicism, there's a lot in that too. And I'm just like, it's making me like going through this I've gone through my own process, shelf breaking, which I mean, I didn't belong to a church, I still believe in God. Nobody can stand in the way of that. Nobody's the medium. Thank goodness. But I think that's that's the difference. But you were born in 58 and did the same. So see, there you go. And then when you have like disconnected parents who, especially in 58, my mom was born in 61 and so on and so forth. And they had a lot of kids, just like is happening in these Orthodox families and stuff. And so there's only so much of you that can go around. Let's be honest. Okay. So, to me, it seems like, you have the first child syndrome where basically the first child is to care after all the other siblings. Look at Sherry Frankie, me, my Aunt Terry, she was the oldest. Um, just the older sibling seems to be like, you know, uh, bossy. Well, I am, or I was allegedly. I say I'm just, I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's like they're disconnected and at least my upbringing was. It's like, um, physically there, it's like a PMO, physically in, mentally out, straight up. So my parents were there in physical form, but they were not there for me emotionally, spiritually, any of the Elise, okay? All that. And so I had to learn to like kind of, take care of my own wounds and soothe myself, whatever. I'm just saying. Assertive. Assertive. I like that. Yeah. That. Wait, there was a meme that I used to like and it was like, "Oh, I have leadership skills." That's what it is. Your mom was clueless. Yeah. It happens, and I mean, it's not to blame, it's just to acknowledge this, you know? That's all I'm asking for, is for acknowledgement and to break this cycle, more than not breaking it and going and really affecting the next generation, my daughter, my son, and then it goes on to their kids because they're not given the tools. I wasn't given the tools and nobody's given the damn tools. We don't even have the right tools. And I mean, like I said, you have to build your own toolbox along the way too. You don't even know you need that because you never had any tools in here. But I mean, so you pick them up along the way and, you can loan a tool, but make sure you put it back. And I mean, it's just a learning experience, I think. I forgive my parents, because again, it's like these things that haven't been addressed, like with Charles. Charles he's my mom's brother. And so they all come from the same family and I don't see a pattern going on. I'm like, oh yeah, we need to deal with some things. But that's for them to figure out, I'm not Sarena. I don't have a visionary experience. But you know what I'm saying? Because I've had to because of Lori, it's caused me to research into these things, into narcissism and like what does this mean? What does that mean? And then it's like you kind of reflect with that within your own life and then you're like, "Huh. Wow." You learn a whole lot about you and then so that's another thing that kind of fits into this because okay, when society can paint us as victims, right? And so we get into this victim mentality and I mean, I get it, and that's why I don't want that brand, like, I'm not a victim. And I don't think I'm a victim in this. Does it affect me? Yes. Are they the victims? For sure, all the way. But I mean, this does hurt others, but we can't live in that victim mentality because that is where team darkness, Lori and Chad's team, the one that they think is so right and that we're so wrong and they're just being persecuted. And we'll just see when we were standing there before Jesus with them and they can say, we were right and you were wrong. But like Lori told Colby, and she's like, I'll just tell you, I love you. I won't tell you that you're wrong. I'll just tell you that I love you. Can you imagine being Charles, Joe, or any of her other husbands who have had to have an argument with her? Okay. Just can you imagine the craziness that would entail? Anyways, it's horrible. It's horrible. And I feel like, just so many things could have changed. So many things could have been different if we were given the right tools. So, all right. We're like going on 8-hour shift now. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll end it. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to be on Joe Schmo's channel. I don't have the link pulled up, Joe, if you have it, or if anybody can get it and put it in there to go subscribe to Joe Schmo. And we're going to try and walk through this or my experience of this, we'll try. That's all we can do. Okay. And I'll email you that link also to that format I sent you to, Joe. I saw that, but I have to go. I can't believe I didn't let permissions or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I'm looking forward to it. All I can do is try. It's just, I've been working really hard to try and put it into some kind of something you can hold on to and follow along, kind of. We just can't get into the details because I mean, you can get swamped down here. These rabbit holes, another rabbit hole brought to you by that's what it is. It's what it is. Yeah, thank y'all so much for being here. If you would please like it and share, and I appreciate it. That way we can trump the algorithm. But anyways, thank y'all so much. We'll continue on. We'll finish Sarena and we'll go into Alex and Zalema the next go around. Thank you too, Megan. Appreciate you. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Whew. Love always wins, and you guys are proof. I promise.